Now.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into our Argent Springs debrief, decompression, question and answer, fun time session. Uh, what we're going to do, we have a little bit of an order of operations here. We're going to start off with the three DMs from the campaign, and we'll introduce ourselves in just a second. And then after that, we will open it up to a bit of a free for all, so to speak, where any of our players from the campaign who are in our other chat room, we'll hop in there and have a little talk with them. Go over some favorite moments and uh, biggest surprises and that sort of thing. So
I
before
thought part of the free for all was there's going to be like 6 people, and then we throw 2 knives into the middle of the room.
that's after where it's like, oh,
Oh,
so who wants to keep their character for season 2? Let's see. um, hmm. So let's go down the line and introduce ourselves. I guess I'll start since I'm already talking. Hi, my name is Chris. I am one of the DMs for this campaign, like I just said. Uh, you can find me on pretty much all of the other campaigns for the most part, and I run the Twitter. So if you ever want to talk online, it's at that D&D podcast on Twitter, and just type that D&D podcast with no spaces anywhere, and we're probably there. You're up, Andrew.
yay. Hi, I'm Andrew, who's not in Europe. Chris lies. I'm actually in Vancouver, and my name's Andrew Otway, and what actually sustains me is bringing Chris just misery and sadness. I'm assuming my volume is steadily decreasing since Chris is the one hosting this stream right now. And you can find me at Aotway, AOATWAY, on the Twitter and most other places. Yeah, that's me.
Hey, I'm Jordan. I typically like to sneak in terrible puns and terrible things to do to players in Chris's ear. That's mostly what I've been doing so far for this campaign, but I plan on taking a bit of a more active role in the future.
And making horrible things happen to people?
Yeah, Chris is the middleman. I'm just gonna go straight to making the players cry.
That's relatively true. Like I would throw an idea. It was just a chunk of idea coal, and they would like harden it and sharpen it and polish it, and it was the diamond dagger that I killed half of the party with. So
But what if Jordan's character is a vampire, but her sister hates vampires and is a cleric or a paladin?
that was pretty good.
Uh,
Anyway,
cool.
so let's go down. We have a short list of topics we wanted to just kind of touch on, things that we noticed or really liked or wanted to change. So anywhere in particular you guys want to start, or should we just go down the list?
I mean, let's start at the top and work our way downwards because we're not animals.
Yeah.
Well, see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We could roll a d6 and see which topic we go to.
The problem is it stops being a d6.
Yeah, this would be the only time in the campaign we got to roll something, guys. So yeah, the first one, pretty simple. It's what things did we
Chris,
learn?
You got to roll the party in that last session.
Yeah. So yeah, what things did we learn over the course of running this campaign? Anybody want to take a stab at that one first?
Learned a lot about Dungeon World specifically. Like, I like the system a lot, but I learned a lot about sort of its limitations and sort of things where it scales differently with different things. And one of the sort of biggest lessons for me was noticing that like there's a lot of the things where it's you narrate what your character is doing, and then the GM says, "Cool, that sounds like this. Roll that." Or roll this or whatever. And the biggest exception to that was casting a spell.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know how you'd be like, cool, like I reach into my like spell reagent bag and produce some bat guano. And like, is that gonna tip off the DM that you're casting Fireball? Like, is the DM like supposed to memorize like the fake components for all your spells?
Right.
No, you probably basically say, I'm gonna throw a fireball at them. So, yeah, that sort of struck me as emblematic of what I like and what I don't like about Dungeon World, sort of all in one moment while I was making tacos, and tacos are delicious. That's another thing I learned.
Jordan, you want to go or?
I mean, I don't really have a lot of different RPGs to compare Dungeon World to, just because I haven't really played a lot of games since January. But like,
Yeah.
it was a very it's not an intimidating RPG to step into if you're not familiar with it. It's pretty welcoming, I think.
Yeah.
Which makes it so appealing. Like just talking some people into it, like just checking it out. Like I don't have to go very far into it to get people interested in checking it out. Like I've got a live game that I'm going to be doing in Meat Space later this year, just because I was talking about, some stuff that was capable in this
Yeah.
campaign. And I think that's my favorite thing. Like, just it's so
Yeah.
welcoming
And just to think, like three months ago, you had never DM'd before.
They grow up so fast. And I mean, like that's totally a thing that I don't know. Would you say you'd learned?
Yeah, like there were definitely things that I thought I had, like, totally nailed down, but like things that I wasn't sure I could do were the easiest part, and like that ended up being. It was very surprising. I wasn't really expecting that. It was definitely something like I actually am looking forward to future games, like as a player and a DM, coming back to this system later.
Yeah. So oh no. So I kind of learned a bunch of different things. This campaign was mostly intended as a bit of an experiment. Um, it was, I'd heard some people talking about, oh, hey, we had an idea and we ran something like this, and then I was kind of struck by inspiration. I was like, okay, so we should try to do this thing, and I think a few people were a little bit skeptical, maybe, but mostly one of the things I love about working with the people on this podcast is generally they are up for pretty much whatever, or at least some of them are, and we have such a large crew that's usually enough to run a game with.
But I mean,
But
sometimes it's too many people to run one game with.
yes, which is another whole problem to worry about. But no, I kind of learned a lot about, like Andrew was saying, about the structure of Dungeon World. I've noticed it's a lot more of sort of like a vehicle you build out of Legos, and if there's a part you don't want, you can just fucking take it out.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me
you
was,
flick it away. And
yeah, it was in the beginning when we switched the bonds out for flags. I was like, okay, well that was relatively easy to do. I read this, and then now we were thinking, okay, so we're gonna take the XP system out the way it currently is. Instead of having questions at the end of the session, you're gonna get XP based on the mission itself, how hard it is, how many steps are involved, to kind of reward you proportionally for the difficulty of the thing you're doing, rather than did we get loot this time? Because sometimes it's not going to be about loot, and it's kind of sucks that that's one of the main end of session ways to get stuff is you have to kill a notable enemy, you have to get loot, you have to learn something new about the world. You might already know the world sucks. You might already know this guy is here. He might not be that big of a dude in the grand scheme of things, but it is a mission for you guys to do, so you should still be able to grow because of it. And we'll cover in a different topic, the next one actually, but we are going to make some changes for next season, just character-wise, XP-wise, just that sort of thing.
I think that's what we're doing right now, and what you just did is known in the business as a Segway.
My coworker bought one of those.
Is your coworker Joe Bluth?
Okay, no, hold on. He bought it to ride from his cubicle to the car in the parking garage.
But
He paid $600 for an off-road Segway to ride to his car in the parking garage. Yes, the off-road version, because
in case there's a printer falling over in the office, you can just trot on over.
Hey,
I'm gonna stop following that. Like, there's a rabbit hole here. What this honestly sounds like is a Shadowrun mission briefing.
Those hallways are rough, is all I'm saying,
And you're the Johnson who's going to end up screwing us over when we steal your rival's Segway. And then there's going to be an ambush in a back alley is basically where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I can see that. Did anybody else have anything you wanted to add for the things we learned, or do we feel that's covered?
It's covered, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the best thing I learned about this was it's kind of really awkward doing a West Marches in most things.
Yeah,
And Dungeon World isn't a great fit, but I can't imagine a system that's better. It's kind of like the democracy thing.
Yeah. Also, that was another thing I learned is a few points. Our community is fantastic in general. Even people who weren't previously part of our community, I put out a call on the Penny Arcade forums and on Twitter, and people that I have literally never interacted with before decided to sign up and play the game. And I mean, I think
Well, and we've dragged some of those people into other projects.
We
like
have.
Matt ran a session of Paranoia that we still need to do part 2 of.
Yes, we do. It's kind of great getting to know like these new people, and it's kind of I'd feel incredibly lucky that pretty much every single person we've had, you can drop them in with a group of people who've been on the podcast for years, and they get along fine. Like usually you have people butting heads left and right, and by and large, we didn't have to deal with that. We didn't have to boot anybody out of the campaign, anything like that. There were a few hiccups. There were a few people butting heads. We have uh, eh, sometimes things happen. But we handled it and we moved forward, and we're better prepared for things like that in the future. So, yes, that brings us to the next topic, which is changes we would like to implement next season. Anybody want to take any of those?
I mean, I kind of liked how we moved around a lot, but it also made organizing everything a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
The value in it that we saw, like the initial value, was basically we could get different people who were available at different times.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the problems we ran into is some people were available far more often than others.
Yeah.
And so they ended up dominating the earlier episodes, and then that kind of snowballed into a few other issues we had.
Yeah, we did run into a little bit of an issue where it was a bit intimidating for some people if they were sick or if they went on vacation for 2 weeks and they came back and they missed 4 sessions and it seems like a bunch of stuff happened. It was kind of hard to jump back in.
Yeah.
So one of the ways that we're looking at for changing that is for the next mega campaign season, or depending on how this goes, I may try to implement it into other campaigns I run because if it works well, it could be kind of rad. We're going to try to introduce a little bit more character variety via like rotation. So it's not necessarily that you, the player, can't come to 2 sessions in a row, but whenever you play, your character can't be present for 2 sessions in a row. So what we're going to do is encourage people to...
I'm going to call out Zach in this moment because I know he's a big boy and he can take it. Throgner won't show up 8 episodes in a row.
Yeah, well, he was saying that in the GM chat. Yeah. He was like, yeah. I had a tendency to kind of just be there all the time because of my availability. So what we're going to try to do is encourage people to make a stable of characters, like 3 or 4. We'll figure out a good number for that. And what's going to happen is, you have to rotate your characters out, and then in order to keep them at least somewhere nearly leveled up together, whatever XP you get at the end of a session, you can distribute amongst your other characters as well. So if you get like 6 XP for doing this mission, and you've got 3 other characters, you can give 6 to one or 2 to each of them, or whatever you feel would work best. And that way, it'll encourage you to be interested in all the characters you've got and introduce them, and we can kind of see how different makeups work. You might have a 5 cleric mission, which would be it basically a paladin fight from WoW where everybody just bubbles each other until they teleport.
It's 4 rogues and a cleric, which is like 4 funerals and a wedding.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it supposed? Never mind, that's fine. Yeah, so that was one of them.
We need to come up with the bulk nouns for the things. So it's like a prayer circle of clerics.
Yes.
A smite of paladins.
Yes, we do, because that seems like I was like, that's dumb, and then I was like, no, that actually seems like a really fun thing to do. So that might be.
And I think we also push that onto the player base because they're going to be more creative than we are.
Come up with. Oh yes, that was another good thing to learn. Is I've learned it before, but it was really reinforced this season. Is to listen to what the players write up in their after episode summaries. I got the
Those
players
were so good.
I got the players to write adventure logs, and everyone who basically they all wrote one, and there was a forum, and then before the next session, people looked at all of them, and they voted on the one they liked most, and the one they liked most entered like the official guild ledger of activities. So that person would get an extra XP or some,
It was 1 XP.
Yeah, it's like a minor tangible benefit to actually encourage people to do it. But being able to see how different characters would summarize the events and what events that they felt were particularly worthwhile, and maybe how they glazed over all of their mistakes, or how their fuck up drove them into a depression spiral which made them write like the longest emo entry ever, or something like that. That helped feed a lot of things, and then just listening to people in the chat afterwards, or seeing what they wrote in the forums before the next session was really kind of fun to hear. The paranoid ramblings they had, or the crazy off-the-wall conspiracy theories where maybe I had something that was, okay, so it's just this guy in a hut, and they were like, all right, so maybe there's this like cult, and there's like a dragon there, and they're like sacrificing stuff to him, and then maybe eventually he'll transmute stuff into gold, and then it's like, yeah, sure, why not? That sounds better. Let's do that.
Fuck it, I'm in. Yeah, I'll take 2.
But yeah, that was another thing. More changes for next season. We got that. We need to get better at scheduling. This is very much my fault, because I was usually the one who sent out the invites. But we started on just the calendar part of Obsidian Portal, and then we went to just the message board, and then we did both, and then we only enforced like one, and it led to a lot of confusion. And I think we probably, in the end, want to use something aside from Obsidian Portal for scheduling in the future. Something that is better about notifications. Maybe I would say like Google Calendar would be great, because we can just plop it there, give everybody access to it. People can RSVP. It would be a lot easier. Do you guys have any other scheduling headaches that you wanted to touch on?
I mean, one of the benefits of having like a set schedule is we can throw it, like, gin up an image, throw it at Twitch, and be like, "Hey, we stream like most weeks at 7 p.m. Central Time on
Yes.
Thursday, and come watch."
Yeah. That would be really helpful to have a general, just weekly schedule as well, even if it's like the scheduling aspect and also when we record. So even if you don't have the calendar, you're like, okay, well, it's usually either Thursdays or Saturdays. So
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
The only thing I can really add is I think there were definitely people who were hoping for more, or just in general weekend games.
Yeah. We ran into a bit of an issue when I was running stuff, that my weekends kind of became unavailable for like an extended period of time, just because travel around with family stuff, or summer coming up and getting the kids and that sort of stuff. So a lot of that's on me. I'm hoping to in the future I have a little bit more variety with the scheduling. Like I said, maybe a Thursday or a Saturday or something like that, and maybe alternate weeks. To where we can get more people in, because I know people's schedules are, some people are only available on the weekends, and time zones and stuff make it hard for more distant folks to come join us. Excuse me.
One other thing I think we were talking about before, not necessarily in the GM chat the other day, but we were hoping to kind of keep the group size to being 4 players, just because it's easier to balance like who gets to do what and still have enough time to get through the missions and that sort of thing. My hope is with season 2, and after I see where I am with like my move next week, I'm hoping to tackle some of the weekend games.
Yeah, getting into 6 people was I think I was more used to the flow of things with having 6 on the podcast, and with a lot of people who've never done this together before. It led to kind of a situation where some people took a back seat, and some people ended up staying in the spotlight a little bit more than necessary. And there was no malicious intent to it, but it just kind of ended up being that way, where there was always someone being left out. So getting a little bit better at tracking turns and making sure everybody got a chance to do stuff, and also limiting the player size, I think would help. So I would agree with 4 and maybe 5 at the absolute high limit, but I'm definitely seeing the appeal of slightly smaller party size for sure. I can kill them easier.
It makes it a lot. Yeah. For one, the action economy is just that much worse for the players. I mean, you can just, suddenly 5 goblins have more attacks than you. No, this isn't D&D. That's not how action economy works.
They only have more attacks if you fuck up a lot.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and then they only get attacks every time you fuck up. Anyways.
Yep.
Or if you just don't talk. long enough. But the other thing with 4 is, I mean, it means it's a lot easier to spotlight everyone in a session.
Yeah.
Whereas with 6, like, whomever talks the most is going to float to the top, and there's really not much you can do about that.
Right. And you could also insert little moments for each player. Like, if you have a thief in the party, well, oh, maybe you're sneaking in and you see a guard walk by and you can hear his keys jingling on his belt. Well, that's a perfect moment for him to shine. Whereas when you have 6 people, it's a little bit harder to plan individual things. And then if you get 5 of them and not the 6th, then it feels like you're fucking that person over, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Well, and like with your thief example too, it means you can take like 15 minutes on that scene, and like I've just had a scene like that on my fighter who, like, Kool-Aid man through a wall or something. So like now the thief gets to do something awesome, and I'm still sort of basking in the afterglow.
Right.
Which is a lot easier to manage.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing we kind of got into a little bit of a headache area with was time tracking. Not only between sessions, but also within the session. And I think this is one of those areas where having it to where people can't bring the same character 2 of their sessions in a row may help. Like if we go too long before we can resolve a mission, we can just figure that out outside of the thing. But it was one of those, okay, so you guys were gone for 2 weeks, but then also your character's in this session, which is supposed to take place like the day after you left, so there's some weird time bullcrap going on, and then it becomes a little bit of a headache there. So I think what we can do is probably not actually have like a Google calendar for it, but if we actually have a calendar where we track how long stuff takes and figure stuff out from there, it might be...
Honestly, we may as well throw it in Google, and then we just have everything in one spot.
Yeah.
That, or like we have a fake calendar set up, but we have like 60 days after the start of the mission, like we pay off some threat that we set up in the first one.
Right, yeah, something like that, where we've got
we go full
things.
Fallout 1 on you. You didn't find the water chip. Spoilers for a game that is 2/3 my age. Yeah, you didn't find the water chips in time, and your vault has died of dehydration, or the super mutants come and shoot everybody.
Yeah.
And I mean, having that's going to sort of enforce the West Marchy feel.
Yeah.
As well, where like, you're working against the world, and part of the forces that the world uses against you is just going to be the unstoppable motion of time.
Yeah. And
unless you're a fucking wizard.
That is a real good enemy to work against, is time itself, because it's one of those forces of nature that's just always kind of looming. And yeah, I like that. Anybody else have anything that we should change for next season, or I think that covered most of the ones we had already kind of talked about. Excuse me.
Matt briefly entered and then left.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that was I don't know, it's just like going back to the 4-player thing, like it's not just for the GMs, but I think it would also be much more rewarding for the players, like synergy wise.
Yeah.
Just because like it in a way, like it kind of forces them to interact with this person instead of like, oh, like they're quiet, so I don't really have to talk to them, sort of thing.
Right. No, the rogue was quiet. This is my cleric, and they're loud and a real pain in the ass. And they're gonna try to convert you to Godwinism, Godwology. It's a thing. Jeez, figure it out, Andrew. God. So it looks like the next topic is things that we think went, I guess, especially well this season. Anybody want to start with that one?
I mean, the fact that we had a campaign that I think overall the campaign went well. Like, I don't think that's a controversial statement amongst our group either. Definitely room for improvement, but I mean, that's... I mean, what doesn't have room for improvement? Yeah. So, I mean, just the fact that we had a campaign that lasted 16 sessions and involved nearly as many characters and like a dozen players. Yeah. And just the fact that, like, that I award Chris 1 pat on the back for that.
Just the one.
I will save it for the winter where it's cold and lonely.
Excellent. Or Concordat.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, like I think overall, like things went well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely pain points, but
Yeah. And I also, I agree. I think the campaign as a whole went well. It sounds weird to say I'm glad it didn't go perfectly because it gave us a lot of things to focus on and improve. We can't get complacent because there's so much crap to change to make it better.
if we had the perfect campaign, then yes, I think you're allowed to be sad when it ends.
Yes. But yeah, we definitely had some rough spots and some things we kind of held together with duct tape and twine and said, "Oh, this is good enough for now. We'll come back to it." And I kind of never came back to it.
Chewing gum and prayer.
That's true. Yes, let's
Duct tape can actually hold things together.
I really liked how everybody, played together. I really enjoyed like the little storylines we started to dig up. Doing that fiasco session to have just a little bit of future world building stuff was good, and I'm pretty sure that is going to play into season 2 a little bit, perhaps. It didn't get to play into this one because things went away, but when they went that way, it let me sort of work just a little bitty hint about what happened in the 4th edition campaign into this to try and tie the worlds together with my own dumb little Easter egg, which is apparently a thing I like to do. I unknowingly put all the games in the same world.
You're far less prolific thus far, but tabletop RPG hack Stephen King.
I just have to put out like 300 more seasons.
I was gonna say like a campaign every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I need to do
Which,
the
honestly,
Dark Tower
like,
of campaigns.
That's what we're doing. Also, that's also roughly how quickly we get new ideas for new campaigns that we can't actually run. Little hint behind the scenes. I might like. There's something that we aren't recording or broadcasting. This is just us playing for fun, but we're playing Star Trek Adventures, like 5 of us from the podcast, which actually has a neat mechanic for basically not always playing your character, which we may want to look at stealing as well. Basically, if there's an away team in Star Trek, and I'm just going to talk about game design for like 5 minutes.
No, man, go for it.
Basically, if there's an away team and your character doesn't really have a place on it, like you're the captain or whatever, and the XO doesn't need someone else with that skill set or whatever, you can make a red shirt who is your character except one worse in every stat, basically.
Nice.
And you can swap one pair of stats. So you can take this person isn't a science officer. I'm going to swap their security and their science stats. So now they actually know which end of the gun is what. And then you just play a red shirt who is just a shittier version of your normal character.
That's pretty good.
Another RPG that does something vaguely similar to this is something called Ars Magica, where every character makes a wizard, like capital W, big fucking deal wizard. And then they also make just a fighter type. And the wizard could absolutely wizard the shit out of things. Like they are that potent. They have magic at their beck and call and probably a tower and a laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
But wizards got shit to do and rituals take time. So I mean, you can't always be the wizard. You're going to be setting stuff up and then just not playing them. And you're going to play the dinky mercenary for a couple sessions while the wizard I don't know, raises Atlantis from the bottom of the ocean or whatever.
I thought you meant raises as in burns.
Well, or that, yeah. I open up a giant portal to the elemental plane of fire above Atlantis, and, now it's just a smoking pile of ash.
I had good intentions. I wanted to dry it out for you. Sorry.
But yeah, there are other options than just make 4 characters.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've landed on anything yet, but that's the direction we're currently leaning.
Yeah.
Because it's cleanest in Dungeon World.
Yeah, and we're gonna do another. We're gonna do the Apocalypse World season before we get back to Dungeon World, so we'll have a little bit of time to kind of ruminate on things and flop them back and forth. I definitely want to find something that we feel will work well going forward. I don't like making tweaks in the middle of things because I feel like, I don't know, some people might get grumpy, but if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. Um, Let me see. Jordan, you have anything you think went well?
Yeah, I mean, like, so going back to what you said earlier about players getting along well with each other, there
Mhm.
were some really, really interesting, just like in character interactions, like beliefs, drives, that sort of thing, that,
Mhm.
you know, kind of made me think of Blades in the Dark, except a little more detailed. There were a lot of really interesting religious characters that were in this campaign. Like, we had a variety. It wasn't just one or two, but like players got really creative with the deities that they were following.
Yeah. I think it kind of led them into some interesting directions, which was fun to see. Also, Matt, I think you're probably listening to this, and I just want to let you know that Father,
Killian?
your dedication to Father Killian through all of his like religious zealotry and standing in the beam of light twice to fall into a pit twice was it was definitely one of the highlights for me. Like I loved seeing people get super into character.
I think that's actually one thing that we could also do better is as GMs not let the players just ignore inconvenient mechanics.
Right.
Like Throgner, as soon as he got as soon as two people in our party became evil, stopped using detect evil, and we should have on
Yeah,
on a 6-, we should have been like, oh yeah, and by the way,
yeah,
vampire,
that would be a
very
pretty good
obviously a
hard move.
vampire.
Yeah, yeah,
Or like, yeah, no, that rogue is bullshitting you when he says he's neutral.
Right.
Um, or maybe not the rogue one exactly, but
yeah,
like,
because that
or
would
you
invalidate one of
through,
your moves. But
but
yeah,
something similar.
definitely.
Well, I mean, with the vampire one, I was only evil for like the one session, and like when I actually got the playbook, it was lawful.
Yeah.
But like the idea itself is like a really good one. Just um I think enforcing, like it's hard to say without seeming kind of like, I guess, a bit of a dictator. Um,
I mean, our job as GMs is to make the player characters' lives interesting.
Yeah,
no,
and
no, no, no. I agree. I'm saying finding a way to do it. Like there were definitely some things that players were maybe clinging a little too much to.
yeah,
Right. But the thing is, like, it's if somebody clings to something, then that means it's important to them, which means that is something that a GM should definitely consider as a viable target for throwing rocks at.
Right. Mostly I meant like behavior wise. Like you said earlier, avoiding things.
yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to enforce for next season, not enforce, that sounds like, bad, like I'm gonna slap somebody on the wrist, but I really want to try to drill into the whole don't say I I discern
Oh, I
realities or
detect
something.
realities.
Yeah, it's I want you to tell me what your character is doing, and then you and I will have a discussion, even though we probably both know the outcome already on what move you'll be rolling. But like,
Well, and I mean, the discussion might be as brief as, cool, I investigate the wall and I'm gonna rub my hand along it.
yeah,
And you're like, cool, roll discern realities.
Yeah.
And discussion,
right,
dice come out.
right. And I feel like it helps build doing things in character and in world helps just kind of make it not so much more realistic, but it makes it more engaging.
Verisimilitudinous.
There you go.
That's the word you're looking for.
Yeah. Veiny salamanders.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just stuff like that. Anybody else have anything they want to touch on before we go to the next topic?
I mean, continuing on from that, sometimes a player would want to use a different move than the one that the GM is assuming. So like just another thing that's important in describing what you're doing, it will help your case in saying you want to use this ability versus this other ability, like otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I don't know, just as an example, using like the hunt and track for rangers versus discern realities.
Yeah.
When you discover something, sort of thing. It just helps, and I mean, the point of the game is a story narrative sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of those, parts where the talking about what the move is definitely important, but I feel like it should never come before you saying what you actually do to trigger the move.
Well, and the other thing is, as a GM, we might not call for a roll. Be like, oh yeah, you're running your hands along like this thing. One of those bricks is definitely sticking out.
Right.
It's a button.
Yeah.
If the consequences for failure are unimportant, then making you roll for it is a waste of everybody's time. Anything else? Okay.
I don't think so.
Next up is the biggest surprise. So did anybody have one of those?
I'm trying to think, but right now all I'm thinking of is Ragnar's conversion to alphism. I kept trying to think of things that were like some big mysterious thing. I don't know, like I just didn't see that one coming at all.
I think personally my biggest surprise was watching the murder mystery episode.
God, that went so well.
It went so well, but what really got me was a player character was like, yeah, okay, you can handcuff me to a chair. I'll deal with this.
Yeah.
I was like, but really?
I think that was the most rational a player character could be in that situation. You are suspicious of me. My weapon is there. This looks bad. Please handcuff me to this chair.
Yeah, and it's like, but you're player characters.
Oh man,
You're
but
generally murder hobos. What is this rationality? Where does this come from?
I love. Oh, was that Jordan? Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say that same episode. I loved how it's like, I'm gonna try, clearing this person's stuff. This person is innocent. Hold on. Oh, okay. It was actually this other person in my party.
Please let me clear Jim by directly implicating Bob. It's like, yeah, it was probably the people who were having an argument with him and say, "Yo, shut up, dog. That's me." No, but I love the way that twisted from, originally you had put a note, it was like, yeah, so the butler did it, stretched this out into 3 hours, and I was like, let's have...
Like, literally the prep for it was, there's a murder mystery.
Yeah.
As soon as you walk inside, the lights go out, someone ends up dead, the butler did it, somehow stretched this to fill 3 hours.
Yeah.
That was all I wrote.
And then I was like, okay, so we're going to have dances, and then there's going to be dinner, of course, and then there's going to be like drama about who's going to sit next to who, and then one guy's got to be a dick because this is just one of those fancy dinner movies and somebody's got to be a dick.
And then they end up dead. It went so well because the party was yelling at him for his bullshit. Like,
yeah, I was like, this guy's going to die, and then that was thank you guys. You gave that to me on the silver platter that the butlers were walking around with. And to be honest, when we started this season, rather, I did not, under any circumstances, expect it to spiral out to where it did.
I expected a lot more to happen in
the Monanke?
In the dungeon proper, yeah. Like one of the touchstones when I was thinking up stuff was like, what would I expect to encounter in Etrian Odyssey? So that's where the code red threats were. Like literally, that's like, hey, go down to floor 5 and kill this boss monster so you can progress the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, and like I started trying to put more quests to bring people back there, but I think it was also a thing where maybe people got a little bit tired of going down there, so stuff out and about in the world was maybe like a little welcome distraction. Like, going to visit the Druid's Cove and fucking that up, and then gonna go visit Quam's Bowl and then fucking that up.
Fuck that up, yep.
I don't think it wasn't just wanting a change of scenery so much as a lot of the outdoor quests were just so interesting to character motives.
Yeah.
Versus, just kill another monster.
Or head into the dungeon and get me this religious relic.
Yeah, and I think that's
totally not Cthulhu.
Yeah, that was one of the little stumble points that I hit. Was I was looking down the list of characters, and I was like, okay, let's find something that druids would like, and then let's find something that maybe rangers would be interested in. Let's find something. Oh, this is a holy quest. Maybe the holy people will like this, but I didn't think to focus that also into the Monanke, so it ended up being a lot more fetch quests and murder quests there. So there was a little bit of... That's one of the things we could change for next season, is much better quest balance. And I think I'm going to try to open the quest writing up to more people. Maybe put a rule. I mean, you can write the job posting, but after that you can't touch it. So like
Yeah.
people playing in
yeah,
it can help plant the seed, but you're not going to know what the hell plant that is until we show it to you.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, you can totally elevator pitch us a thing,
Yeah.
and you will get a baby that looks nothing at all like expected.
Yeah. So it's got 2 eyes and like 2 arms and horns, and then we bring you like some weird goat octopus, and you're like this, like this. Also, it wants to live in your blood, and you're like, no, 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 not that at all. Also, I was surprised by how this turned into the body horror season. Just like
Oh yeah.
I thought that was a goal from Word One.
I didn't
Like
expect
we
it
were
to
coming
go
up with all
this
this
far.
hideous technology.
My brain apparently
the
at the
blood
time was
teleport.
just my brain at the time was into some shit. It kind of still is though, so I guess it's always been a little bit in there.
You definitely kicked it up a notch, just in frequency, just in that last episode.
Patrick just suggested in Discord a literal daycare mission. Which yes, no, we can take that and run with it.
Yeah.
Oh. You know what?
Because you're like guarding a nursery of elephants. Have fun.
I was about to say, not even that nursery of elephants. It's like, oh, this is like the topside monster zoo, and you are supposed to watch all these freshly hatched spawn. And oh no, people are coming to kill them because they're valuable. Good luck. Fuck, that was quick. We should. Somebody take note of that. Hold on, I'm putting it on the thing.
Thanks, Patrick.
Daycare Mission. All right, sweet. Anything that you feel was a big flop this season?
Yeah. We did put out the audio of the side sessions, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so when Alaric landed on Tibbles, that was a pretty big flop.
That was the
Womp
flop that
womp.
killed the kitten.
I feel like a lot of my puzzles that I put in the first couple floors in the Monarchy may have been a little bit too convoluted.
I don't think they were convoluted. I think the problem was exploration wasn't rewarded the same way quests were.
Yeah, that and with a limited time frame, I don't think we really encouraged a lot of exploration. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we have to end the session in 20 minutes.
That's actually something we should look at with the XP stuff. Like maybe the mission thing isn't the way to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe XP is treasure. Like XP is loot. You loot a thing, you get X gold and Y XP.
Maybe.
We'll
Like,
figure it out.
It's something to consider because if we want exploration to be a focus.
Yeah.
Right.
And we could make it to where not so much a checkpoint, but like, okay, you get to this point, you've got an item that'll help you from here on out in the quest. You can head back to town, and basically you get to start back here or something like that.
Yeah, this is a Ustus flask.
This is a ban fire. You sit down and pray at it, and all the monsters come back, but so does your health.
Praise the Monunky.
Yeah, so I thought a few of the puzzles due in large part to, I guess, some timing issues and stuff like that were unexplored, or the party walked into the room and was like, huh, okay, and then walked right out. I was
Yeah,
like, well,
like just stopped engaging with it eventually.
yeah, and I didn't want to. It's one of those things where I didn't want to bring it up and like beat people over the head with it, because the last thing I want to do is try to railroad people.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't interesting to them after the first few times, I just stopped bringing it up, unless somebody came down and wanted to investigate it more. But yeah, there's that first room with like the weird smudges on the wall. Somewhere in the first floor of the Monarchy, there's some glass plates that you put in front of that giant beam of light that y'all can't break, and they're colored to the same as the paint. So basically, you can see through the paint and see what's underneath it, and that kind of stuff.
Because that's how light works.
It's probably backwards from how light works, but it worked in my head.
No, it works for puzzle logic.
Right.
Like it works for puzzle game logic, and it's not that bad puzzle game where you have to like get a marker to change somebody's passport and then also attach tape to a thing that a cat runs under, so you have a fake mustache.
Right. Or you don't have to, hang out in the cold spot of the Monarchy for like 45 minutes till your access card changes to blue, and then you have to run
Yeah.
over there without getting into a fight, so it's still blue
Yeah.
while you can unlock the door.
Exactly.
Yes. Any other flops?
Definitely my first session that I ran. I spent way too much of it trying to interpret specifically your notes, but this is on me, when I could have just been like, hey, I'm going to take this thing and kind of put my own spin on it. I should have been a little more
ad-lib.
And that's what I did in later sessions that I ran. I was just like, yeah, trying to be Chris doesn't work for Andrew.
Yeah, I find that you and I, like, we can usually come together on, like, an outcome.
We come up with some fantastic fucking outcomes for people.
Yeah, we come up with outcomes, and then every single step from the start to the end of it is absolutely different.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I think it's really interesting just to see, like, the different ways that we worked, and then getting, like, getting Mike and Zach in on the GM chat to help, like, bounce ideas off of, and get 5 brains working on some fucked up stuff was...
Yeah.
That was good times.
I mean, especially with Mike, when we're just like, we need body horror, and Mike's just like, well, have you considered? And then it's just
Mike's
3
like,
hours of retching into a paperback.
Mike's like, please allow me to show you my binder, and it's like made of like the skin of children or something.
Yeah, no, it's totally the Mitt Romney binders of women thing.
So I know we have, biggest surprise and stuff like that. Do you have an absolute favorite moment from the campaign or a session?
A couple as a player.
Okay.
Basically, anytime a Lark screwed over Rona, because that was just really pleasing for him, because she took it herself so seriously.
Yes.
Favorite moment probably overall is like is Ash's guilt at Tybal's meeting. The end of a lifetime, let's say, the rear end of a lifetime. Boom, got there.
Man,
Are we still doing it as GMs or just players?
Either one.
Okay.
Go wild.
I mean, as a GM, I was not expecting Ash's friendship bracelet to come up again after, I think it initially came up when Andrew had to go because, fire alarm.
Yeah. That was a fun moment.
I thought it was just going to be like this nothing little flavor moment, like that we could maybe talk about again in the journal or something. No, you guys wanted to like both break your thumbs over like fixing it.
Well, no, I was trying to show Ash how to get out of handcuffs, and so obviously I dislocate my thumb poorly. And then Chris rolls the dice and gets a very similar result. So clearly you just followed my instructions.
Oh
I'm trying to find the little end of session thing that I wrote down.
For the side session?
Someone did theirs in like rhyming verse, right?
That was me for my first one that I went on.
Jesus.
So
Fucking
here's...
overachiever.
Look, man, I get into character sometimes. So here's this. It's in the Roll20 chat. I need to find that rhyming verse one too. Hold on. Session
It's
2?
5.
Is it 5?
Yeah. While Chris does that, like as a player, some of my favorite moments were characters that definitely approached Rhoda, like trying to get her to take it down a notch. Like
You're up here.
There were people that were slightly antagonistic. There were people that were actually very friendly when they basically almost had no reason to be, or like they had a huge amount of reason to distrust her.
Mm-hmm.
Like I especially liked a little later on, like I had this relationship with Killian, because like as soon as the vampirism was going to get cured, I was going to join his flock.
Yep. Killian was guild dad at a certain point.
Yeah. Single father Killian. He went to go get some cigarettes. That's why he's gone most of the sessions. But no, there was this amazing rivalry that just kind of naturally happened in session 4 with Rona and Zephyr, and it just kept switching back and forth, and it was a lot of fun to play off of. Like it was like the characters were maybe like slightly antagonistic, or at least trying to like kind of jab at each other in some way,
Yeah,
like not in a malicious way.
Yeah, I don't think y'all were actively hostile towards each other, but there was definitely like siblings trying to race down the hallway and kind of just slightly push each other towards the wall so you can get ahead of them, kind of thing.
It's the quintessential Robin Hood scene where one of you like draws, shoots an arrow blind fire, hits a bullseye. Another one's like, oh yeah, and then splits your arrow.
Yeah, and I mean, like, just thinking about it, like, Verona's gonna be so messed up when she wakes up and finds out that Zephyr's dead after
Ooh.
what he did for her. Like, she has no idea. She has no idea at all.
Yeah. So I feel weird saying that some of my favorite moments were the ones where I was DMing, but it was more like the characters' responses to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Eru died and he basically had the choice of like coming back for the rest of the mission, and it was like slowly burning away everything that made him him.
Yeah.
And he was playing to that, and he was totally on board, and like stuff like that, and then just.
And you definitely didn't have any influence from Nier.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Near who?
Nier a tomato.
Yes. We call it the produce section. But no, just my favorite moments of the whole thing were seeing people get absolutely into character and make not always terrible decisions, but like decisions that a rational person looking at things from the outside absolutely would not make, but that character in that moment with everything they've experienced up to that point, like that is perfectly in line with them. Right. And like that crap got me. It was yeah, so
I think some of my favorite bits were also just planning things.
Yeah.
Like when I wrote the like 20 words that comprised the murder mystery, I was like somehow stretch this to 3 hours. It's not going to be difficult. There's going to be a murder mystery and the characters are going to be there and they will be self-involved enough to implicate themselves. And just like knowing those things and putting that down, I was just like, yep, nope, this is fine. And just like handing it off and watching Chris take that ball and sprint with it.
I think what we should do, and this is definitely not a hard and fast rule, but I think we should like only run sessions for missions that other people wrote the synopsis thing for. So you have to play off somebody else's stuff, and that's definitely not something I'm going to hold us to, because that's not how scheduling works and stuff.
But it's a good like principle.
Yeah, and also if another GM happens to be in it or like watching the stream or something, taking notes on how you would have done certain stuff so we can compare at the end would be fantastic. I always love learning
we did that
the way
a couple times. Yeah,
we did. It was kind of towards the end, but like that's one of the things I always love, seeing how other people would do things, because being able to think about how other folks would approach stuff kind of helps me when it comes to thinking of how the players are going to handle stuff too. Excuse me, jeez.
Like that mission you ran in Verdigris with
what was that guy's name?
Dunwald,
the one who's talking
Dunwald
about
was
how
the dwarf that
consent
Rona
is important
scattered to the four winds.
Yeah. He was
definitely.
She's
She's
so
totally
up for that
evil,
riot,
I
though.
swear, she's lawful. She just murdered people lawfully.
I was still evil that session.
Yes, but yeah, like when you ran like the dungeon in there, which I wrote, like I don't think you actually ad-libbed anything. Like, I mean, you ad-libbed like descriptions and everything, but like the mechanical gubbins and like the potions and whatnot.
Yeah.
You played all that stuff straight, and I couldn't recognize it because I had never considered it in a house. And so just like we're trying to figure out like the geography of this house completely like rendered me unable to see it again. And I was like, wait a second, potions and like roll this many d6.
There was at one point where I saw the realization on your face, and you were like, hold the fuck up. Hold on.
I was like, no, I remember coming up with this table.
Yeah. Even during the session, he's like, oh no, I think I wrote this part. And then he's like, I can't remember how it goes.
Yeah, no, it was really cool, and just like getting flashes of memories of something that, because like when I mentally imagined it, it was like a cave network and like portals connected rooms together and stuff like that. And you just put it in a house, and that was enough to completely baffle me.
Yeah. Oh man, and Thrognar got together like an angry mob to go storm the wizard house. Just on a whim, he's like, we're gonna make an angry mob, and I was like, yeah, okay. Like, okay, so that the tame a shark.
No justice like mob justice.
Yeah. No, I mean that
so says the goddess of knowledge.
At him.
So forming a mob, taming the sand shark, and trying to do shit with the lake water were stuff where I was like, I'm not going to allow this. And then I remembered how the first episode of the first season we did went, where I just went, no, you know what? Roll it. We'll let the dice determine it. And like, it went
Boom,
completely different than it would
Mike
have
crits with
otherwise.
his shitty crossbow, ranged basic attack.
Kills the bad evil guy, outhand, 10 minutes
No.
into the first session. No, paralyzes him, and then you lick him during interrogation.
No, so he kills the image of the eagle that the bad guy was flying away on because it was a summoned creature, so it had 1 health.
Yep.
He plummets to his death. His buddy plummets to his near death. And his buddy then we interrogate in the hospital.
Yeah, I was going to have him come back and do some weird thing that I ended up incorporating into, part of that was
It was
in
the
Dungeon
house
World.
thing.
Well, so he was going to come back with an army at some point.
Okay.
So I ended up working that into the first Conquest thing, where basically they were slowly infiltrating.
Okay.
I think
Oh, okay. Yep.
one
Yeah.
of my other favorite things as a GM is, I mean, so I have wireless headphones. I can hear things even when I walk away. As a GM, for my 2 side sessions, my favorite part was hearing you guys try to figure out what was happening. Like, what is this tomb with like the figure, with the swarming insects mean? Like, it was really fun just hearing the players go like, oh my god, I think they're like, it's like a nano swarm sort of thing.
Yeah, that was the thing where like our characters would absolutely not know what a fucking nanoswarm is, so that information does nothing for us.
Yep.
I mean, like, hearing you guys trying to talk about the crystal in the tower in the Druid Cove, like,
Yep.
You guys never went back for that missing chunk of gem. So, I mean, something happened to that, which will probably be revealed later. But
See, that's
They're
what I
probably
love.
fun.
There's these little threads that were just left all over the floor, and like a lot of people probably wrote a bunch of this off, and then next season's gonna come, and I guess the people who paid attention or were part of it will be like, oh shit, we did that, or oh
Yeah.
shit, nope, yep. I think it'll be
Cough noise, spider cult, cough noise.
also, I mean, like, I had a player remark on the way I named one of my NPCs. So, I mean, that's a hint, if anything.
good. Yeah.
I was not super subtle about it.
I mean, you can be as subtle or overt as you like with names, and it's going to fly over the head of most people because
Oh, yeah.
If you're not
player
in the
characters
head,
are narcissists.
if you're not in the headspace to like try to analyze that, then it's just gonna fly right over the radar like 99% of the
Right.
time.
I mean, I was hoping to bring up the name again later. I mean, one person specifically was saying, hey, doesn't that mean, like this? And I'm like, yeah, it's probably fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Patrick says, I wanted to kill that fucker, and then parentheses, sorry, I meant spider cult guy. So
Yeah, that's right. That's why I just chuckled out loud a few seconds ago because I looked over and saw that. I need to stop reading chat.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
continue reading
so
chat.
do we have anything else we want to put for this part, or should we start getting to the questions that people send in?
Yeah, no, let's get into the other stuff.
Questions.
Okay. So first one we'll go to is from Patrick. It says, so how did your plans and adventures stand up to meeting with the players?
I learned very quickly not to plan anything. Like, have an endpoint in mind, have a start point in mind, and have, like, I don't even know if set pieces is the right idea. So much as just, like, challenges that I can make worse or easier on the fly depending on roles. But, yeah, no, I stopped having plans pretty quickly. Like the race, the Hanna-Barbera race up that cliff face that killed the author guy.
Yep.
I want to point out, like, it wasn't bloodless, and it definitely wasn't rated PG-13.
Yeah.
Thanks, Neve. But yeah, no, like that whole thing, I was just like, yeah, no, there's gonna be a gang in the way, and I need like a name for them, but I can figure that out in post. And then I did, and it was the Foghounds because I'm incredibly uncreative.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like very, very little of anything I ran towards the end of the campaign was actually planned beyond like, here's an objective, let them run free for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's also something that changed for me. I mean, before we started the first part, when I went and drew out the maps for like the first 2 floors of the Monarchy and stuff, and I had, I mean, pages and pages of notes on like, here's what the room looks like, here's the stuff in it, here's the monsters you might fight, and then eventually it got to, okay, here's just like steps in the chain for the quest, and then eventually it was, here's a quest like journal entry, and here's the names of some people. Like when you gave me, when I found out it was going to be me doing the murder mystery, okay, I went a little bit above and beyond on that one. I made 16 gangs, and I gave each of them names, and I gave them outfits. Did I not tell you this?
No, you did. I just want to point out that what you did there was you prepped an entire city for Blades in the Dark.
Right.
Did you steal those?
No. No, I'm just saying, like, that's the legwork that you did there, was you prepped an
yeah.
entire setting for a campaign of a Blades in the Dark thing.
Yeah, I mean, I had like
Keep that work, it's valuable.
yeah, basically I had like here's the unifying like item for their thing. So when I asked the guild that was the members that were participating, I was like, okay, do y'all want to have any sort of like unifying thing? Because I wrote it to where literally every other group of people that was there had a thing to tie them together, whether they're wearing the same colored clothes or had the same pendant or both were like wearing like fur cloaks or something. So it really helped in my mind to set the stage for this like incompetent rabble company to basically come in. Nobody looks like they're with each other. They just look like disheveled, and one of them is a cannibal and is trying to eat the wait staff. Like there's just all kinds of shit happening, and it kind of helped bridge the it showed the
finger
divide.
food?
It depends.
Lady fingers.
So yeah, I found that in the beginning, what I thought was going to happen and what actually happened did not align very well. So, like Andrew said, I ended
So
up
stop trying.
well,
Like,
I ended up
no, like,
adjusting it,
that's-
and yeah, it was one of those. Okay, I have a start and an end point in mind with some characters, and
And you can't help but mentally draw dots in between those 2
Right.
points.
but don't color don't fill that line in. Leave it as dots, and then you know what? You can go veer off to the left, and if they just want to stab that guy who's going to give them the info they need, well,
Yeah.
they have to find that information somewhere else. Maybe there's a journal there somewhere now, or something like that. So it kind of got me to think a little bit more outside the box and not set everything in stone.
I think was that the Hanna-Barbera mission where
To get to the lake the first time to write about it with the sky whales.
Okay, so I'm thinking of a different one. The lake
Okay.
one, the one I'm thinking of is the convoy getting across the sands.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah, that was
the
such
one
a...
cultist sacrifices the other cultist to get
Yes!
magic. I came up with basically just like a list of 5 NPCs to make up that the traveling guild, and then each NPC just got like 3 words, like 3 descriptive words.
Yeah.
And so like one of them was cultist dominant, and like I can't remember the last one. Then the other one was cultist submissive and something else. And like obviously the submissive one is going to be the one that gets sacrificed. Like that's just how that would play out. But like that's one of the things that I changed that made prepping stuff just a lot easier. Like the warrior lady from the Foghounds. The 3 words, one of them was just like, I can't remember, but it was basically just like weary. Like, she's been in enough fights to know that she's probably going to win, but she doesn't want more scars, sort of thing. Like, and so that's why she's like, let's just get up to the fucking top of the thing. Just don't kill each other. And that was sort of the genesis for that thing.
Yeah. Anything else you guys wanted to add in for the, how your plans stacked up with the adventurers?
I definitely, like you guys were saying, like, get less married to plans that you have for the thing, just because, like, watching you guys stumble with the sand shark and, like, the bush of vines and stuff, like, and, I kept trying to dangle some strings for you guys to pull.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it's just something I'm not gonna I'm gonna have to avoid doing for my next one. But it's like,
I mean, a good lesson that I think most GMs learn and relearn is like the player characters are incredibly self-involved.
Yeah.
If you don't like, if you describe a room and you spend 2 extra words describing a vase in the corner, you've lost 50 minutes of your campaign because clearly that vase is important.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you mention like, oh, and there's a key hanging on the wall and like it's gold and it looks like it'll fit this lock, like unless you also take the player character's attention and just like rub it against that key for like 60 minutes, like they're not going to notice it.
Right. I mean, I tried to be less subtle about it, like as the session went on. Like I had you guys meet with a specialist about something. You guys didn't even talk to her. You're just like, oh, okay, I guess you suck, so I'm leaving, sort of thing. Like you're not at the tower.
Yeah, that's, I think my thing was I have to track Lily down because, hey. Yeah, that was a whole thing. Yep.
It has yet to be resolved.
Yeah, that was a real emotional roller coaster for Ash. Definitely that whole little side session. Let's see.
The good thing is, everybody got to get out at the bottom.
Yeah.
Especially Mr. Tibbs.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the next one is from Jonalo. It says, I have a question about the Dungeon World campaign. Does that make Apocalypse World what happened to First Conquest after the events of the Dungeon World campaign? As far as timeline stuff goes, I kind of like to leave that sort of thing vague so that you can have like the paranoid corkboard map with the red yarn.
Well, and that way we don't tie our hands unnecessarily, but that's getting a little like removing the magic from it.
Yeah, well, so I didn't initially have the idea that these would all be in the same world. I had this definite idea that the 4E and the first Dungeon World campaign were going to be tied together, and then at a certain point, I started seeing some things where, like Argent Springs was in that world somewhere, but not in Axis or First Conquest, so it was somewhere else.
Not contemporaneous either.
Right. They're all happening at some point in the timeline, or maybe this is a Dark Tower linked world situation, and it's happening at the same time, but not the same time.
I liked the analogy that was discussed before the stream a lot with like the Zelda universe.
Yeah.
As a way to describe it.
I know, mate, we call the universe crap sack because it doesn't ever end on a high note.
Yeah, so I have a recurring theme apparently lately, and it is body horror increasingly strongly, and and then shitty worlds, like not so much like shittily described or anything, just this world is in decline in a big way.
I mean, yeah, and Blades in the Dark plays into that pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I just backed a thing. If you're listening to this, you're probably into tabletop RPGs or woefully confused, or both. But yeah, I just backed a thing on Kickstarter today called The Spire, which is basically like dark elves living in a city as underclass, in a city as the underclass, and the city is run by high elves. And there's sun pantheon sort of thing, and like sunlight burns dark elves. And it's that same sort of like gritty crapsack urban fantasy thing that's kind of in vogue lately that I'm enjoying a lot of.
Yeah. Let's go to the next question. This one's from Patrick again. He sent us pretty much all the rest of the questions. Were there any adventures that another DM did that you had an interest in doing, and what might you have done differently?
I mean, interest in doing how, like, GMing, I guess?
Yeah, an interest in GMing is my interpretation of that.
I don't know.
I originally planned on running the one that Jordan ended up doing for her
Oh,
GM
the side
crash
session
course.
one?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Druid Circle thing. And the way I had it like written or checkpointed or whatever in my little doodles was entirely different, but I really liked the way that she went with it.
Yeah, I can't imagine the ones that I wrote and didn't play in going any differently than they went.
Right.
I'm trying to see if I can find the job board, like if I put the notes on there that for the one I wanted to do, or for that one.
I had asked you previously, and you said that you lost your notes for it, but
That's true,
you
son
had
of a
been
bitch.
tempting me, like when I was still just a player.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm wondering, what your, you know, good intentions are going to be about this thing, and like the only hint you would give is like it was inspired by Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, so originally I think it had something to do with I can't remember if I had druids as the bad guys or I for some reason I have this affinity and I like to do it at least where what the situation appears to be at first glance is definitely not what it was in reality, like with Axis being built on like human slavery and stuff as opposed to humans trying to revolt against you guys. Um,
I had a couple different ideas before the one I went with. I was going to have like some skinwalker.
I had a Wendigo thing going on in mine.
Yeah, but like there isn't really a skinwalker type community, and that was the closest thing they could think of. And like maybe the Druid Circle turned them away initially, and they want revenge sort of thing.
Yeah, like we are in touch with nature too. You can't just limit it to your way of doing stuff or something. So maybe I think I think mine was like was Wendigos or some sort of like not changeling because I've used changelings a lot, but some other like shapeshifty animal. And there was something where basically the druids weren't going to kill them because they were creatures, but they were going to frame the murders on the creatures and get the party to kill them or something to kind of like sweep a problem under the rug for them. Um, but I have little basic like small memories of it in my head, but I mean they're it's not a complete thing. But I really like the way that Jordan's ended up, and I got to traumatize my character, so that was it was all good.
I want to give Ash a hug. Like,
Trauma did you choose for Ash?
I mean, Killian got to give her a hug at the end of that first half of the side sessions, but like I
And then
wanted
I
to give
talk
Ash
shit
a hug.
about it.
Yeah.
Andrew,
Right. Well,
she
these.
went with the obsessed trauma.
Okay,
Oh god.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Let me.
I was gonna say if you went paranoid, then the Ash merch would sell itself because she could have her head on a swivel.
Get out.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna try to look through the Twitter notifications and see if I could find. I think people sent in questions here at some point, so
It was a comment to one of your postings.
yeah, I think it was from Blake.
It was.
He has a lot of fun stuff on occasion to send or replies to things. Elven phrases. No, it's not that. Yeah, you guys go to the next question, and I'll work on this and catch up.
I mean, there's like 8 more parts to this one question.
Yeah.
But I guess we already kind of touched on those because what happened that surprised you and you felt changed the story. Yeah, I mean, none of us, I think, GM precisely the same way. I like personally, my favorite thing to do is generally not inflict harm, but use the other opportunities that are presented by either the monsters or the characters on a 6- and just like find that weak point in that character and twist the knife.
Yep.
So things like Lily running away are sort of exactly in line with what I would have done. It's like, oh, hey, Ash has a crush on this person. Let's have Lily think that they're actually into slavery and not the other kind of like, and let's okay, what's that? Tibbles, you try to catch somebody and completely flub it. Awesome. You land, like they land on you hard.
it's not even just that, like just like attacking. Oh, okay. And I was trying to think of ways to harm you guys. And I was like, okay, Tibbles goes flying. Like you guys are right next to a cliff. It's what happens when you're not careful.
Yeah. Fight on a cliff. Well, gravity still has its say.
Yeah, but by the way, kudos for getting a kill your first time out. That's real commendable.
Yeah, I didn't get one in like 3 or 4 sessions.
I made up for lost time at the end.
Well, not only that, but you like annihilated one of them. So.
Yeah.
Emotionally and just watching the whole party wrecked about it. I don't think any other party was wrecked about like a party member falling as much as Tibbles. Like just you guys were all so miserable on the walk to the tower.
Tibbles was very much the heart and soul of that group.
He totally was, which was weird because he was a cat that didn't talk. But no, like I felt like okay, so Forrest's death was a little bit rough because a lot of people took it personally, and then the first.
Are you sure it wasn't rough because they were a druid and could have shapeshifted into a dog? Get it rough?
I think they were. No, they were a spider. At the
No,
time,
they were
so,
spider.
yeah. A wolf spider. Boom, nailed it. Bridges
Got
together.
there.
My favorite thing was he had wanted to become a spider since the first episode, and it's like, yep, you've done it. Now you have achieved your character's life's purpose.
Yeah.
You can die happy now, and he did.
So
I don't know that they died happy.
Yeah.
No, he was offered a chance. He's like, nah, I'm pretty cool with what I did. Like he was
like, I'm not going to subvert the natural way of things as a druid.
It wasn't just that. Like he said that he was very satisfied with the things that he had accomplished.
Okay.
And it's why I was so torn, like seeing, because a lot of people were talking about resurrecting him. It's like, nah, he sounded pretty cool with dying.
Yeah.
It's like,
I really wanted a scene where I could just like 100% rip off the best episode of Buffy, which is to say the musical. Spoilers for something that's like half as old as I am. But yeah, at the end of that episode, you find out that when Buffy was resurrected, she was ripped out of heaven, and that's why she's, depressed, because she was in literal paradise and removed from it forcibly.
Yeah.
And that does things to a person.
yeah.
Also, man, the survivors from that last mission, they were not great. Like, Ucha just fucking peaced out. Like, she wrote the guild log entry and she left.
Yeah, pen drop. Can you blame her?
No. Also, I think that might be one of my favorite. I think that might be my favorite adventure log entry. Like,
Yeah.
it was solid as shit. Renee's a good writer though, so that's
Yeah.
not saying that other people weren't, but she does this for like.
I mean, you were
living, not a living. She writes a lot. She's a nerd.
A passion.
She's a passion.
It's not quite what I was trying.
got there.
Like on no context, just throw that into the hangouts.
Let's move right along.
Yes.
We got one question from Blake. It says, "Will Thrognar convert a moose to elfism?" And I think
that's on Zach.
It
really.
is, and I really think his only stopping point would be finding a moose. Like,
so do druids count if they're a moose when it happens?
I mean,
and what does an elven moose look like? Is it
Uh,
just like a prettier, blonder, taller moose?
It's got
with,
blue
like,
eyes,
pointy ears?
and all of its fur is blonde. And it's like weird moose antler things are like pointy, but like gold on the ends.
Diamond.
Yes.
I mean, all you have to do is get David to hang out with, or like iTouch to hang out with Lomain. It's like, moose, meet an elf.
Lomain's moosing through the walls.
I
Good
know.
times.
Like, oh.
We need to get Joe to play more. Which
yes.
is
He
difficult.
needs.
That's something
more
we're going to
like
change for
this.
next season.
Right.
Just turn up the Joe.
Yeah. I mean, I know that for sure he was apprehensive about like messing up. I was like, no, like your accidents were like Bob Ross happy accidents. They were awesome.
I mean, I saw a thing on Twitter which was like, someone was saying, like, it was a WotC tweet, basically saying, like, this will be the easiest version of Dungeons and Dragons you ever played. And someone had quoted that and was basically just like, it just downloads the PDF for Dungeon World. And I was like, that's really funny and also kind of mean and also really true, though. Like,
Yeah.
it's...
Well, also, like, a lot of people are worried about, oh, well, I'm gonna fuck up a roll, and then, like, everybody's gonna give me shit for it. And the thing is, like, a lot of we joke around about, oh man, you had a bad night, you know, you made some bad rolls. But for me, the consequences of failure are like infinitely more interesting than the reward for success. A lot of times, like Ash going from feeling super confident to feeling like the world's biggest fuck up because every time she tried to help somebody, she screwed up. Every time she tried to fight one of the sharks, it bit the shit out of her. Like she came in like, you know,
like a wrecking ball.
kind of, but she only wrecked herself. And it was one of those things where I think that combined with Tibbles dying and just everything with that last mission she was on really kind of helped cement some character
Her
growth
arc.
for her. Yeah, definitely.
Some boots around her feet as she stepped into a well of despair.
She didn't even take them off. Those were her only boots.
Her cement boots.
So we got another question from Patrick. It says, if you could do a session over, what would it be?
Oh, my first one, hands down. And I would have just ignored every fucking room, and it would have been probably worse, honestly. I think, like, the more I think about it, because I can't stop thinking about it right now, the dungeon we either need to explicitly define, like, every square of, or just go wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the second one is infinitely more feasible.
Right. I mean, I chose the Druid Circle just because of all the detail that was written for the dungeon. I didn't think I could really soak it all in, so I didn't want to like trip over something that was already written or, you know, that sort of thing. I mean, like, so I definitely was someone who would try double checking after each session was played just so that I could remember details. But it's like, it still seems too intimidating. I'm just going to go something where none of the guilt has gone yet so that I can define that instead. But, like, I agree. I think maybe it should just be a bit looser.
Yeah. I can understand that. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Obsidian Portal's down, so I can't look up the fucking...
It's another reason to stop using Obsidian Portal for things.
Right.
There was one session where... I think it was a lot of like aimless wandering in the Menanke without much payoff for anybody. And after the end of the session, like I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head, but like I felt like real self-conscious, like I just wasted a bunch of people's time. I wasted 4 hours of their lives. Like they probably hated this, and everybody's gonna quit and not come back. And it was one of those things where like if I could have done it over, I would try to kind of throw the instruction book away and try to pepper some more interesting things in there to kind of tailor the interesting shit to stuff that people were playing like their characters would be interested in, instead of like I think going by what I had down on the map was kind of detrimental to all of us really. So yeah, that's definitely my redo. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean the other one I would probably, or another thing I think we should probably take a look at is just, yeah, like either... No, it's completely gone. My train of thought has derailed itself. That was fun.
I think for the next season I may want to scrap all of our existing maps and start over.
Burn it down.
Not even like the player notes on it, like we're gonna start everything from scratch. Whatever session that you are GMing, you add to or subtract stuff from the world as you see fit. Because
well, I mean, and like, shit, maybe the dungeon like has a few set rooms, but in between stuff reorganizes itself.
Yeah,
Another reason to do that is, I mean, we were talking about things that would be on this floor or this floor, but it's like we've barely gotten to the second floor. We are
right.
never gonna reach this bottom
Yeah.
floor.
I
And
mean,
I
yeah,
think that would let us put stuff like cooler stuff in sooner. And so, okay, the main reason I made the maps was I
I
get
mean, we
like,
didn't know better for one.
Right.
yeah, that, and I kind of have generally not the best anxiety for this kind of thing. Like before every single recording session and before doing this, I have like this sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach that something's going to go terribly wrong or everybody's going to hate it.
Hmm.
And like I generally just kind of go through it and hope that it goes okay. But like I wanted I wanted to make it so everybody would like me. So I spent hours at work making a map and scanning it and putting it on Roll20. um,
Yeah, I mean, like I totally know what you're talking about.
and
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I kind of haven't felt comfortable talking about the whole, I guess, performance anxiety stuff with in regards to this. And we've been doing this for 3 years, and it hasn't really gone away. It's just I think it's a thing I'm gonna have to deal with. But
Oh yeah,
having a good crew to run with and just awesome people in general who are forgiving of stumbles and that sort of thing has helped a lot. And I don't think I could do this without you guys. So thanks.
I'm 110% the same way. The fact that like I don't really like I couldn't have guessed that about you, and I'm assuming it's very similar for the two of you looking at me. Like that's kind of just a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everybody goes through their own personal anxiety hell, and then you get through it, and then you're just like, oh wait, maybe maybe I can do this. And then the next session, you're like,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm going to screw everything up. I don't have enough notes. This is going to last like 15 minutes and everybody's going to go home sad. And then,
Yeah.
I run a session that lasts 5 hours and Chris yells at me for setting unrealistic expectations.
And then I get to murder somebody.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just two.
That's also one of the reasons that I'm signing up to do that robot fight announcer / MC thing is I'm terrified about talking in front of people, so I'm just gonna
Yeah.
fucking make myself do it. This year in general has been me confronting a lot of fears and making a lot of realizations. So might as well keep that train rolling.
The year of fuck it, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a big
And-
year of change for me in many ways.
I mean, just going off on that, like imposter syndrome is super shitty.
It is. It is the worst. Like we get fan letters from people and they're like, "Hey, I love the stuff you guys do. It's great to listen to. I love y'all." And then every single time I read one of those, I send them to everybody and I'm like, "Hey, they really like you guys." And then my brain goes, "But they don't like you. They're just being nice." And
See, now you might have confused two parts of your anatomy. That's actually an asshole talking at that
Yeah.
point. That's not
yeah, no, it's my brain always goes to the worst case scenario. So,
Yeah, no, I exactly know what you're talking about.
thank you for coming
can-
to this anxiety discussion podcast.
Yeah, why don't you, I'll get my notepad out, Chris. You just
This cord reaches to the couch, so I'll just tilt the
there you
camera.
go.
And we're good to go.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions we had. So we've got Joe showed up. So we've got Joe, Matt,
Yeah.
and excuse me, and Patrick and Janalo there. So why don't we join them and we'll start chatting.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch.
And they're going to be very confused for like 20 seconds as Twitch catches up. So what I'm actually doing right now is just padding.
Yeah, well, actually, so I did a comparison when we were playing PlayerUnknown Battleground the other night. It's 10 seconds.
Jordan, look at this. Let me know when
Goodness.
it's doing it on the stream.
Yeah, okay. Hold on.
Oh my god.
Yeah, okay,
You're so
there you
Okay,
go.
there we go. Okay, I'm gonna hop over.
silly, Chris.
Hey,
That is
everybody.
The silliest segue I think anybody has ever done, and that's almost as good as when we clap poorly.
Spent 10 minutes getting the intro part of the fucking podcast started.
Now I can ask you all the questions in person. Mwah!
Ask,
Yeah,
ask,
the-
go, go.
You
Yeah,
can.
there was one question we didn't actually get to, which is, was there an adventure that you hoped a certain crew would go on? And personally, no.
Yeah.
Like just full stop. No, I wrote adventures to be person agnostic.
Yeah, I'm sorry I asked so many questions. I was
No,
just
it's-
like I had like a lot of ideas. I was like, oh, I'll send this one too. And then like I had like 10 and I was like, oh crap. What did I
You
do?
don't need to apologize for enthusiasm.
Yeah. Steven didn't send any in, so you had to take up his slack.
Quota must
Wow.
be met.
No, look, I
Shots
mean that from a
fucking
place
fired.
of love. He was invested and he was asking questions about the stuff that interested him, which I absolutely love. I'm just ribbing him a little because he himself
Plus-
was giving himself a little bit of a burn sometimes, going, "Oh, you're gonna hate me. Here's 3 pages of questions," and he for sure had like 3 pages of questions.
Yeah.
Bless him for asking the questions that I was too lazy to ask.
Oh my god.
So
Can
yeah,
we
this
just give Steven the MVP award for like character in the season just for doing all the shit?
So for
He
this,
sort of
I was thinking. I mean, y'all don't necessarily just have to ask us questions. I was just kind of thinking of doing like just a little round table, like talk about stuff that you like, stuff that you think we should change or work on, any sticking points that you noticed, or just kind of a free form whatever discussion.
There was a sticking point when I tried to deep fry lo mein. I didn't have enough oil in the pan.
Oh God,
Oh God.
That's less than I do.
got to keep that moisture up.
Baby, you got a stew going.
Ah,
What was the
Dramatic.
question again? A quest that you wish players went on?
Yeah, is there
Yeah.
any quest that you wish like a specific set of players or player went on?
Well, I mean, okay, so like again, I kind of had this set up for you guys to look into heart stuff, but like just like investigating the heart stuff. I wanted to tie it in with some of the stuff we did in Fiasco.
Mm,
Yeah.
Seeing the fiasco thing would have been cool.
Oh yeah, no, like I fell in love with those crystal hearts from session 4 when Andrew was describing them being like the claimant. I was like, cool, they make inanimate objects alive. And they have desires and stuff. And like the ones that you guys found in the Druid Circle, like they wanted to have life, come back to the desert. Sort of
I'm
thing.
gonna
mm.
pull. I'm gonna show you the magic trick, and I had they were hearts, and like they animated clay, and that was what I had written down.
Yeah.
Everything else was 110% you.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
like it was great. Like I wanted to do more of it. Like when I had you guys walking in to talk to NPCs, Matt was like, "Hey, doesn't that mean like Queen of Hearts, like Queen of Hearts much?" I was like, "Yeah." I wonder why she's here.
I actually personally hoped that like Dreyald or Thrognar was going to go on the ballroom mission, but I was
They did too.
I was super sad about that until
Mhm.
Zephyr kicked in the door.
I know. That was like the
Yeah, he showed up late and he's like,
entrance.
"What's up, everybody? Zephyr's here!" And I was like, "Oh, great!"
here we go. I wanted to do the shindig so badly. That would have been
I was gonna say we
fantastic.
should do another one, but the problem is, like, I think when we start the next season, it's gonna be several months in the future, and it's not gonna be appropriate, like, fancy ball time. There's gonna be some shit happening.
Right, but I mean, like, given the circumstances, a desert where people are starving for resources, thing, it wasn't really that appropriate to be.
Oh no, for sure, but like, it may be one of those like they put together like a shitty event to try to keep like
Right.
morale up.
I'm imagining it's more of a potluck.
Right.
Yes, yes.
like an after Sunday
Yes.
or after church thing.
Yeah.
I brought goblin fritters. I hope that's okay.
I brought
Give me those
goblin
fritters!
I
No,
mean,
you
there's
clearly bring goblin ears, and they're done on hog's ears.
yes. I mean, there's still an opportunity for like just a smaller scale one to show up later, and I mean, who knows? There could be some triumph that the guild comes over. It's like that is definitely worth celebrating.
Yeah.
Our guild? No way.
This band of losers, fat chance.
There's a reason I named like my last act as Alara was like, here's a horse named Cart, here's a cart named Horse. and
Hey,
naming-
wait. Pause. Fuck you for that, by the way.
Oh my god,
And
that
I'm
was so
naming the
confusing for
guild
Chris.
Competence Limited.
Session 15 was a goddamn
Yes,
nightmare
it
for
was
that.
so good.
That is my favorite thing. I mean, okay,
Horse
so
is
like,
still alive. What are you talking about? The
No.
horse is dead. No. Cart is
I'm
alive.
I'm
Horse
hiding
is
by
dead.
Cart. Cart's dead, man.
cards.
Oh my
Said
god, what is
my
this? Who's on
dreams.
first?
Yes.
But like there was almost a chance where that didn't even happen. I was like, no, this is happening. Like, I heard this thing and I like it too much, and it's gonna make Chris mad, so I have to.
I like that. That's the unifying thing. Is like, oh, this is gonna push Chris's button. Let's do it.
Yeah, like just
If
just
you won't be an adversarial GM, we'll be an adversarial.
Party. pushing the GM's buttons is a time-honored tradition.
Why are
okay?
you making
Right.
me kill you guys?
Fine. Fuck you. There's 4 mummies.
Stop
now.
stabbing this
Feel like
knife.
that.
Stop making me stab this knife into you. Stop it.
So I know we y'all ended up naming the guild Competence Limited, but the number of times I had to crank the difficulty of a fight up to like 14.
Yeah, I mean, Dungeon World's not like it.
It's not a
Did it-
combat
it's
system.
Yeah. It's not like you can't make a fight tactically challenging.
no.
No, so
so
I
much
just
as
kind
you
of
can like give
You can
players
make it
competing
cinematically
objectives.
interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
That
the-
being said, that maggot octopus fucking fuck of a mission was
was that the one with
awful.
the assassin guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the worst.
Yeah.
So I cranked that one
One-
up a lot.
that was
Like
the
I
worst.
basically I tripled his health
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
we-
scaled his damage up by like a die plus 2, which is
I
why
actually thought we were all gonna die there. I was like, crap, this is
Well,
gonna go so badly.
like I looked at his
We
numbers
had
and then I
low
was like,
now.
okay, so on a good
We're all
round,
day.
Neve can hit for like 180 damage, and then so
Only against my own party members.
I didn't go based off like your max damage, but like just the amount of damage you guys could put out on like a round with okay rolls was really high, and you would have
Yeah.
wiped this dude out in one turn. And I'm like, no, he's supposed to be some like badass assassin who got away from the Assassin's Guild and is hanging out in the dungeon for fun. Like he's got to
killing
be
people.
a hard ass dude. So I gave him that, and then the weird maggot squid pet, which I just thought was icky.
Yeah, that was a fun fight. That it was actually like one of my favorite like fights ever,
Mhm.
just because it was super fun to do.
Yeah.
Because we were all like really screwed, and that made it interesting.
Jesus, those hits were terrible.
Oh
Most-
god, they hurt so much.
Most advice that I have for like newbie GMs is hit your party harder. They
Yeah.
like it.
It took me a long time to so whenever we came up with stuff, I was like, I'm gonna do this, and Andrew was like, harder, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm
just-
gonna do this, and he's like, more.
Yeah. Like if
Players are masochists,
Yes.
even when they aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's because like by making their lives miserable, you make their triumphs greater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're responsible
Exactly.
for their triumphs, so they feel that much better.
Also, I think that's one of the reasons behind us encourage. I don't know how many of you guys were here for the start of the stream, but what we're going to encourage for season 2 is for each player to have like a few characters in their own little roster, and we're going to have a hard and fast rule where like you can play in multiple sessions back to back. Your character may not. You have to have at least a 1 session cooldown for your character, but say your cleric gets 5 XP, you can also distribute 5 XP between your roster of other characters, and we could just throw in a story reason for why they're doing that. Maybe they were killing rats or like blessing sick people or whatever.
What were they doing out in the world while
Yeah.
your played character was doing shit?
But also a thing
And-
that's going to come with that is we're going to crank the lethality of stuff up, so you're going to lose some of these people. So focusing on just 1 or 2 is going to be probably to your detriment at some point. So I think having a lot of characters with like different personalities and kind of meshing them all in different combinations will be interesting to see.
Okay, Chris. I have an idea. Me and Chase had an idea for a character that we were discussing.
Mhm.
How would a Siamese twin work?
Mm.
You can barely keep a straight face through that. I'm impressed.
In the words of Gimli, that still only counts as 1.
I would very strongly advise against it because
Right.
it's a condition that probably wouldn't be handled with the utmost of tact and respect.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Fair.
it gets into a punching down situation almost, where like say I'm not gonna like shit on anybody, especially not in this cast. I saw a tweet a while back where somebody was thinking about just because they wanted to play like a trans character and they're just like a straight white dude, and it's like the odds of you playing this well are not high, and the odds of you fucking it up
Yeah.
are way higher. So it's the rewards for the risk of like doing it wrong and like offending people is probably not worth it. You could play a two-headed, like if you had like a two-headed ogre or something, if an
I was
ogre was
saying
a
head
class.
would be great.
Yeah.
Like if
Okay.
maybe like a two-headed one with like you can have warring personalities going, but that would probably be the limit of it, I think, for me. Or if you had like some weird familiar that got fused to you somehow.
Alternatively, if you want to explore like multiple people controlling one character, there's the RPG Everyone is John, which is also not like great for its treatment of things, but everybody plays a character like the same character as different personalities that wake up and take over.
Everyone is John is in the same bin as Cards Against Humanity, where it's who can prove who has the least amount of soul.
Yes.
Oh, hold on.
I still have my other character, the barbarian person, who's entirely about business and like inside trading.
A business
I believe
barbarian.
in
Oh
Hostile
man, I should totally
takeovers.
bring in Jonathan Q Murder Machine CPA.
Wait, what? Please continue this train of thought. I want to hear more.
Jonathan Q Murder Machine CPA was basically for a while there mine and my friend Tim's way of having our generic character. Jonathan Q Murder Machine CPA was whatever barbarian you threw into a situation and how would he be able to handle these things. So having Jonathan Q Murder Machine show up in Argent Springs probably wouldn't be too far off the mark, actually.
I just
That
want to
sounds-
point out that in our second Blades in the Dark campaign, the one Zach is running, our gang is called From Accounting.
Yep. My character is a demon lawyer who
All
basically
demons are lawyers in that setting, though.
Yes, it's funny how that worked out, but basically she wears a skin suit to look like a person and convinces you to sign over all your worldly possessions or they kill you. But no, I just pasted the synopsis for one of the fiasco modules called All the Damn Time, where you're playing. So there's this person Sam who gets stuck in like a weird time loop, and you're playing. Every person is playing a Sam from a different point in the
Yes.
timeline, and like future Sam can visit any place past Sam has been, and if you visit past Sam, you unlock them from the time stream, and they can go visit other Sams as well.
That's so awesome.
So
That
like
sounds
it sounds like the
cool.
biggest nightmare to actually figure out the like mechanics of, but as always, Fiasco is a fantastic time.
Now I want rules for the Quantum Leap.
RPG.
You have to roll a
Oh.
D1000, and if you roll 1,000, that is the leap that takes you home.
Yeah, no, like you end the campaign. Congratulations.
But you never
Also-
do.
No.
Also, a second question. I'm just curious about this. Do changelings exist in this world?
Undetermined, I think, at this point. We haven't.
I think the correct answer at this point is 403. This page is forbidden.
It's a
Just
top.
I was gonna
curious.
say,
Yeah,
not that
it's a
we know
topic
of.
that we have not brought up in great detail yet.
Because I had this idea for a changeling assassin, and I was just curious about if that was a thing where their entire thing is just they every form they take, they change it's a different name. They're like Legion, and it's
Mhm.
like I'm one, this form is two, and it's like their voting system on like what happens next
Yeah.
and such.
Yeah.
So I was just curious about that because I know I have a lot of character ideas.
I
Yeah.
mean, there is a lot of time before we start season 2.
Yeah, we there's
so,
a
I
lot of
mean,
stuff we haven't figured out
throw
yet.
a bunch of those around like amongst yourselves if you want.
And
I think the-
always you can post it in the Menonki chat, and maybe we can start like a Google Doc or something with just questions people have before the next season that we can sort of hammer out. That's not specific character stuff because we'll get to that before the season starts too. But just like maybe general world things we can kind of bounce around a bit.
And I mean, alternatively, the answer is You tell me.
Yeah. Also, you
And
might
like,
want to beware
what
because
what does a changeling rogues like? What's their custom move?
Yeah.
And because I think that's honestly like one of my favorite parts about Dungeon World is like, well, there are no dwarf rogues by the rules, so like let's come up with a dwarf rogue
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
when you backstab someone while drunk, you do extra damage.
Which is like you can literally smell treasure greater than X value.
That would
smell it.
kind of be stupidly awesome.
Oh my god.
That would be
you could do
That'd be
something.
awesome.
You could do something like war dogs from Blades in the Dark. Like they only feel relaxed or strong while they're drunk,
Oh, that's really good.
or like when they're in a fight or something.
yeah. But just bear in mind that like in the campaigns that I run, changelings have kind of taken a heel turn a little bit. So you may
I
not
mean, one
be
of
a
them
great
did
guy.
self-genocide, so
Yeah.
she became the god of death and basically just raptured all changelings.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's slightly different. Only slightly.
I was like, well, no, the Saint Sister just blew up a town, and she was the original. Look, when
did
halflings are
some
involved, shit goes down. Also, all of my stuff ends with like cataclysm or near cataclysm. I'm fine. Like, oh
Hey,
hey,
in Gastown, y'all just stole a blimp.
yeah. On the end of the
Oh,
4E
boy.
campaign, y'all killed half of the Pantheon and just basically went, yoink, the seat's mine now. Let's see what happens.
Oh, but it has my favorite icon of any god,
Yeah,
which is
my
Lash's mailed fist crushing a drake neck.
That was so fun to draw. That one.
So yeah, did you guys have any like favorite moments from the campaign, or like favorite episodes, or favorite like character things, or shit, anything y'all wanted to talk about? I don't want to like monopolize the conversation.
Any interaction with Zephyr is probably the greatest thing
Yeah.
ever to play in.
For sure.
My heart.
Had the best exit too.
Oh my god! Like
Oh god.
Zephyr, like okay. In game, Neve hated his guts, but out of game, like I loved Zephyr. Every time Zephyr could be on the screen, I was like, yes, more of this craziness. And I was so
did not get more time to interact with Zephyr.
I was so
Yeah.
happy with like the episodes that Zephyr and Neve interacted, just because it was so much fun to play in. I was just like, oh, this is gonna be so much fun because these are two like very strong personalities clashing.
Just a little bit. Just a
That
little
was a good. I like that whole arc there. That like they never met for like 10 episodes.
And we're just leaving shitty notes on the
Yeah.
map.
Yeah.
Well, and then the first episode they bump into each other. It's like, I fucking hate that guy.
It's that fucking guy across town. He's a dick.
It wasn't even a question. I was like, that must be Zephyr. I just feel like I fucking hate that guy.
What did they even do? No one knows. No one knows.
My
That's
favorite-
gotta be Zephyr Quinn. He's got a stupid face that I want to punch.
Yeah.
Like the whole Neve's whole hatred came from I was looking through all the characters and such, and I realized that like Neve had the whole thing about like she questions people who call themselves a leader, and like in like Zephyr's original write up, he was like, "Oh, I'm the leader of things." So I'm like, "Nope,
Yes.
fuck this guy."
So good.
Zephyr, didn't you come back to life long enough to rip your heart out of the mummy and put it back in yourself and then die?
I don't even think the heart went back in. I think Zephyr died clutching his own heart.
Yeah,
that he
that's
had
the
just let
image I had in my
out
head.
of a
At least,
mummy.
where you're like,
And that's so-
like, no, that's mine. Dead.
That is a scene that belongs painted on the side of a white panel. Door.
I have to say, like that last like session that we had to break up into 2 sessions was I think my favorite.
Calamity, you mean?
Hmm?
The calamity of our player character?
Yeah, just because. So, I didn't want to be super overt with dropping the hints, but like, I definitely started changing the numbers around, and I was like, "Yep." So there's you and those there's 6 guys. All right, there's you
I
and
don't-
7 of them. All right, there's you and 5, and then y'all just kept going. I was like, "All right, there's you and
We
8 of them
really-
now."
I mean,
Worry about that. That's the thing. We didn't think about like we didn't even ask how many Quamites were there.
Yeah, you're just like, it's just some dudes.
I
NPCs.
did. I just didn't want to
Give the
stop
game
the
away.
flow of the party.
Well,
oh no,
also-
it's not even just that. Like, Rona noticed. She alerted Zephyr. She alerted Ucha. But it's like, okay, well, I mean, something's gonna happen. It will reveal itself instead of us like stopping the flow of the game.
Also, I
That was
think
one of those things where it's like I kind of like felt like, okay, how do we solve this?
Yeah,
And I was like
exactly.
actually
There-
scratching my head, like, huh, okay,
Zephyr, do your
When
thing.
in doubt, cleansing fire.
I was about to say, when in doubt, fireball out. But no, that was one of the things. I think Jordan, we were discussing it in the GM chat, and then I realized you were in there, and I was talking. I was like, you can't tell anybody about this. You can point them in the right direction, but you can't say shit.
Yeah, so I was like, nope, I can't do a goddamn thing. Like nothing. Like I could say nothing. I tried to keep it so that it's like player knowledge. Like
Yeah.
for example, in one of the earlier sessions, it's like, okay, I know that there's a room on the other side of this wall, but my character flubbed her discern realities roll. So now I'm just gonna say that wizard's crazy. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing over there.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that though.
Yeah, no.
That was so good.
Yeah,
That yeah.
That's one of the things I really want to commend you all, and also the people who couldn't make it to this tonight. Everybody stayed true to character knowledge, as far as I could tell. Like, even if after a session we talked about stuff, y'all always didn't. You always made it so your character didn't know that, you guys did, and I appreciated that a lot, because I was able to go, oh yeah, so there's definitely some stuff in here, or I had planned for this to happen, and it may still, and y'all just kept on rolling, which it's kind of nice to be able to just shoot the shit about things, because I don't know, I hate keeping ideas in my brain.
Yeah, totally get it.
That's how they
It's-
get lost.
we're not only our characters, but we're fans of our characters. And
Yeah.
So being
Exactly.
able to play that and go along with things is always great.
Yeah.
not to get all gushy, but like I was a big fan of all the other characters, and so like
Oh,
there's this
God.
weird thing with
Oh,
like
God,
every time you're like, okay, I want to play. Oh, it's been a while since I've seen that person. Like, what's the weird interaction they're gonna be, or what's like?
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all did not disappoint when it came to weird interactions by any stretch of the imagination.
I was so pleased that I got to go like full circle with Zephyr and feel back that thing he said to me in the first session we played.
That was pretty
together.
good. See,
I was like, I see a moment. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just do it because it's perfect. And it's like earlier I was saying I really loved how the thing with like Zephyr and Rona, like we weren't malicious towards each other, but there was like some antagonistic like rivalry, like friendly rivalry.
You were solid Dragon Age 2 rivals.
Yeah, it like I mean even the part where she had to like drink from him, it was like I hate this, but I'm gonna do it. I need to do this. It's like
He's like, I'm
And so
high
you
as
smoke
shit.
him up. Yeah.
Also, I like those tags because all of those tags were basically just like yes anding every dumb idea, which is like yes. Just everyone has a thing that says if it's a dumb idea, do it.
Yeah.
Inspire that for all of your characters.
Also,
Sorry, I came in late. Did I miss any questions? Or anything?
well, we went through the GM only part before we hopped in
Okay.
here. So, I'm recording it. So if you really get like a wild hair up your ass and wanna watch it, it'll be on YouTube soon. I'll send you a link on
Awesome.
Facebook or whatever.
Do not store rabbits in your posterior.
Only wild ones.
No, none.
Only if you're Richard Gere. Anyways,
Jesus.
As a fan, like since I found this podcast randomly, because I've been looking up random D&D stuff because
Mhm.
I want to get back into it.
Yeah.
But like, and some of you guys know the story that I was looking and I found you guys randomly and I just kept on listening. Like I didn't even listen like in order before. Like I started like in Dungeon World because
That's probably
on
for the
my-
best.
I started in Dungeon World because that's what it gave me in the options because of Android's
Right.
weird.
Well,
Disabilities.
it's the stupid RSS feed that Squarespace does. I'm still fighting them over that. But anyway, yeah. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no problem. I loved the Dungeon World, and I was kind of lost. Well, not very lost. I just loved all the interaction, especially Bill, when Rob playing during that,
Yeah.
and just the child killing, and even though
Oh,
don't condone that,
God,
but
that
that
fucking.
was
Oh,
Oh yeah, I
he-
punched
he-
him. Just- Are you
rolled
sure?
it. He rolled it before I could tell him what he was rolling. I was
Exactly.
like, okay, before you,
Oh.
are you sure? Before you do this, and he's like, I got a 2, and I'm
He
like,
rolled it.
Bobby, no, Bobby, no, you just killed a child, Bobby.
Well, no, it was I
Everybody.
punched them.
I
Are you sure?
Oh.
Yeah, I got a 10 on my roll. It's like, okay, and you're a fighter with the like plus 1d8 on successful melee attack.
Yeah.
Great.
You pulp a child.
laughed.
Congratulations.
so hard. I don't even know. Like that was like one of the funniest moments, and I just
And then
kept
it just
on
like
listening.
completely derailed the rest of the campaign because
Oh,
he did
yeah,
it in
because-
front of a paladin who hates child murder
I
citizens.
had
And then
to
you made a
draft
trial
legal
system.
system.
like a trial system.
Also,
Did you go to Austin for that?
I did. I wanted to give a shout out. I know he probably 99.9% chance he's never going to listen to this, but I reached out to Austin Walker because he's rad, and they did a legal whole court case in their Dungeon World campaign, and I reached out to him and I told him what was going on, and he walked me step by step through their process, and he gave me troubleshooting ideas for the moves that I had written up, and he worked with me through the whole thing. So he super helped make that whole thing happen, and it would have been way more of a pain in the ass without him. So I am eternally grateful, and he's a real rad dude. So also, I'm going to plug their podcast. So if you ever want to listen to more live play stuff, go to...
Quite frankly, better.
Oh, yeah. Friends at the Table. They are above and beyond anything we could probably ever do, but...
I don't
I'm-
want to say ever, but I mean, like, they opened up a Patreon and making
Yeah, they're making like...
enough to actually pay people salaries.
Yeah, they're
now.
making like 15 grand a month or something like that off it.
He's so happy.
They also are just like super like you don't know you sometimes forget that you're listening to them playing a D&D game.
Right, it's just
like-
it flows so well, and like you could tell they enjoy playing together just because of how well everything goes.
Well, and I mean, part of that is also the fact that like they edit the crap out of their stuff.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's- They have production values.
I don't-
Yeah.
like personally like having listened to both for a while now,
Mhm.
like while I listen to theirs for like a good story stuff, I like yours better for just interactions. Like I think you guys are just like I actually feel like I'm listening to a couple of friends playing D&D instead of like this high production thing, which is its own really wonderful thing to listen to because I just
Yeah.
feel really good listening to these things because I'm like, okay, these are a bunch of guys and girls just
Yeah.
having fun playing a game, and they're not, and like they can come up with these amazing stories. Like Chris, when you did that, oh my god, the twist with the druids in the first season
Oh yeah,
was
that was
probably my absolute favorite. Like that's actually one of my favorite twists in anything I've ever listened to, and like because it was so like you hit like again, I'm not sure how much of that you actually planned, but like you
very little,
even-
I think.
Yeah. Like when you listen to you like say it, there's a great moment where like in the podcast you can just hear the ball just drop and like hit the floor, and everyone just is like, no wait, oh shit, oh fuck, this is bad, this is oh god, what did we do?
I was trying
like-
to find some way to turn things on its like turn events on their head, and I was like, okay, so what if everything they thought was this is just like fucked in a completely different way? And then that's the one that came to mind, and I kind of scribbled some things down. I was like, yeah, let's see how this goes, and it seemed to go pretty well, so hooray. I mean, it didn't go well for like the characters. They ended up, killing God and stuff, but
I mean, again,
that could be good. It's all about your viewpoint.
and again, like, see also that players are masochists.
Well, yeah, but I think
Yeah.
the thing that really stood out to me about that was like, I have to just ask, did you plan it to be that the humans were originally like when you were playing this, did you plan that it was like, oh no wait, it was the humans specifically that were against this, or was that just something that came just naturally by accident?
I want to say the seed of that, and Chris, feel free to correct me, but I want to say the seed of that was just the fact that like you assemble your stereotypical D&D party, and in a world that like by population is generally for most fantasy campaigns 50+% human by population, and your typical D&D party has 0 to 1 humans in it. And so, I mean, we just had a party with 0 humans in it, and Chris was like, "Yeah, there aren't any in this city."
Well, at the beginning, I was like, humans are boring. Don't make a human. And I
Yes.
basically gave
And then
him
you made
free
them
reign.
evil.
I gave him free reign for everything else, and I was like, okay, I want to have a reason why I don't want them to, like. I try when I make a rule like that to have like a story justification. I was like, humans are basically on the fringes of any kind of society. Like, people treat them worse than shit. And I was like, well, why? So then it kind of went out from there, like over the course of the season. But I mean, like
You
I said
that,
in the
like,
beginning,
humans were evil, I believe.
yeah,
during that.
basically it's like, oh, they were evil and greedy and tried to take everything from themselves. And basically they were like, hey, maybe don't sacrifice kids to make the weather
Aw,
okay around town.
That's the thing.
And they
Don't
were like,
wish for
fuck
weather.
you, get out, traitor. We kill kids here. We don't take kindly to your type, not killing kids. Boy, I tell you what. And then they just gave
Your
him the boot.
highfalutin child living ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Again,
this
it
town
was
was founded on one thing.
Also, another note,
and that's that
within
we're
that
very
whole
pro-choice.
4E.
God.
Another note in the 4E, I like how I know, I guess back at that time, because I listened to it like, well, I guess multiple times now, but
Wow.
like when it comes to like when with the faceless children and the whole weather thing,
Uh-huh.
like I like how the fact that Mike named them animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay, so that went way
At
over
that
my
time-
head for several sessions because, like, I've never played Five Nights at Freddy's because I'm a giant chicken, and he's like
Yeah.
giggling the whole time, and I'm like, yeah, okay, dude, is this like, if I say it in a certain order, is it a racial slur? What am I doing right now? And he's like, it's from Five Nights at Freddy's. I was like, oh, that's fine, that's okay, we're good.
Oh, I was sad that like what was it, Golden and Chica died? Was it not?
Probably, I'd have to check through my.
Such a good.
I think I still
Yeah.
have my
Your
planning
3-year-old
documents.
notes.
I do. I keep these notes because I was looking through the folders recently and like there is a lot of shit that I never even used. Like a lot of shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that plot wizard never showed back up.
Yeah. I was tired of trying to figure out a way to get you guys back and forth. I was like, fucking a wizard shows up and he's crazy. Here you go. Where's the litany of arrows? Oh, okay.
I think one of my favorite things about that season though was like just the message scrolls and the fact that you guys had like so many of
I fucking
them.
hated those
Sending?
sending scrolls. One,
Sending, sorry.
I
Oh,
couldn't I
God.
couldn't take them away once they were in there. I should have somehow found a way to take it away, but I was like, fuck, all right, no, this is the way it goes. Sure. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
no, it's
Like,
texting. We
20
texting
worth or
came
less,
to
yeah.
4th edition.
New brain, who dis? And then, just go from there.
I mean, I think that's one of the best things that Dungeon World does. Is it doesn't have 1,000,000,005 utility spells for every
Yeah.
conceivable problem.
You've got these, and then you've got like rituals if you want to make rituals or, something like that.
Yeah.
Teleporting scrolls.
I had a whole document written up for what would happen if they failed to kill he who slumbers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh god.
I mean, that's the D&D prep thing, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You killed God.
It
Go
makes-
with it.
No, this was the evil god that was like, it's a whole song and dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we beat him up. Lich Kinged him so that there's another person who's good until that battery runs dry. And then in the resulting skirmish also murdered 2 gods.
And then took
Yeah.
their place because everything must...
Check their plates.
I cried when that happened. Like I cried at
Oh,
the end
yeah.
of that season because I not
I was
only that, but I
already-
also shipped Lashrin so hard.
So Adam had such a great resignation to his voice when he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
nope, I guess
Oh,
this is the way it
God.
is. When the gods appeared and we're like, no, there's got to be balance. So this great being of evil, one of you has to be that now. So the paladin was like,
Yeah, right.
this is me.
Oh
Yep.
man, it's like the Asmodeus story.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
man.
they got pissed and both Andrew
Lash went on
and
a
Mike
rampage.
killed the gods that they worshipped, or,
No,
or vice
just Mike.
versa. Yeah, Mike
No,
killed.
just Mike.
Yeah, Mike killed
Mike went crazy
Bahamut
on that
and
one.
the Raven Queen, and then
Yep.
took
I,
one
I
of their
think
places.
Sigil.
Mike had a really good.
Sigil.
Yeah, Sigil carried the
Sorry.
crown over to Foz,
Mhm.
but Mike had a really good point, which was basically just like, I am not some sword to be pounded back into a plowshare when you're done with me.
Yeah,
And
Lash
just, like,
is
yeah.
sorry.
No,
Lash was probably one of like that. The characters from the fourth are probably some of my favorite characters. And I know you guys always like say like, oh well, Friends at the Table is so much better. But like, while I do love their characters so much, I don't think there's a party that I've been more attached to listening to than you guys' fourth season party. Just because they like all those characters were such amazing characters, and like
they all worked well. Like even though like I'm sorry for bothering you, but like they all worked well in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry for bothering, Patrick. Keep on going.
No, it's fine. I interrupt people all the time. It's a problem of mine actually. Also, speaking of scrolls, to get back to the dungeon world and like the season and stuff, my God, like I speaking of things that like just made us laugh and just thought was amazing, Dreyald giving the scroll to
the Mind
God.
Flayer.
oh my God, that was such a great moment.
It was going to be like an actual challenge for me if I'd run something after that had happened, not to have the first failed discern realities be like, Mind Flayer is now in that corner. Well, and just like nobody notices. It's just like he's in that corner chilling, and he's gonna fuck with you in like 5 minutes, and no one will see.
So
Also-
I had it reach out to Ucha at some point.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay. So at the end of the season, when that thing broke out of the hole in the ground, that was
In the lake.
in the lake.
The
That was
lake.
definitely a callback to the He Who Slumbers thing. Basically, the bowl was
Make it be Gossarin.
it was
Do it.
well that would solidify a timeline. I'm not sure if I want to or
Yeah,
not.
no,
No.
probably not.
I'm really curious as to where that's gonna go.
Keep it.
Yeah, no, exactly. We're keeping it timey-wimey. That's totally happening.
But no, like I had it originally speak into Ucha's head and tell her, hey, you should work with these guys because it knew that they were the replacements. But I think I talked to it was either Andrew or Jordan or both of you guys. Y'all were like, would it really want this to happen? Because then it would probably cause a lot of death and it wouldn't be able to feed on stuff. And then I was kind of torn about that because like he was eating emotions and pants shitting terror because we're living in misery would probably be pretty good food, but I kind of took him out of I didn't put him into the second part of that because I didn't know where it was going to go, and it didn't matter anyway because shit went bad.
Because I think you mean flame on.
Yeah.
You're right.
Also, Rona, like something that I just like I had a very there's a certain point with Neve,
Mhm.
like in the episode that she kills Rona.
Yeah.
Briefly.
She
But
got
like no,
better.
but like
I'm
It-
only mostly dead.
I actually laugh because I think like thinking back, I think that was the defining moment for Neve because
Mhm.
at that point she was still neutral and I was actually not sure whether she was going to go full evil or good at that point or
Mhm.
try to be good. And what happened was I decided like in game, like out of game, that if she killed the other party members, if she killed that other party, she was going to go full evil and decide that no, you just have to kill them. That's all you have to do.
Mhm.
But what I didn't see coming was killing Rona, and that just changed the entire direction of where Neve went from the character that I was like, okay, I'm going to have her be evil and just appreciate strength to, oh no, wait a second, I fucked up. I want to not fuck up again.
I'm curious what differentiates that from like another guild member, like say Thrognar.
Wait,
because you said if
No,
you
it
killed
was
another.
killing the the people who were robbing
Oh, I see.
Yeah, if I
the
killed
other party.
yeah, if I
Oh,
was
right,
killing
yeah.
them, that was going to be like the end of like that was going to be Neve going complete dark side.
Okay.
But because she ended up killing you, it was like one of those moments where I was like, no, Neve's going to regret all of this because now she realizes that like
Yeah.
that's a thing. And I actually kind of look forward to when she actually does drink a berserk potion again. Because I'm
Mhm.
curious about what that's gonna look like.
You're welcome.
So
I have Open the mystery box.
That was one
Ray
of the
Justin's
big
files are
things
good.
that I feel like I got a better hang of over the course of this. Is at the beginning I was like, okay, you failed the dice roll, I'm just gonna hurt you, and it's more interesting and it makes you feel worse for failing if I make you hurt someone else due to your fuck up.
Yep.
Like
I wonder
you
what episode
failing
you
to
found that out.
Yeah, you failing to restrain it and then throwing Rona against a wall. And I think the thing that helped a lot with that was the attraction armor that Rona refused to take off for some reason.
Yeah.
So it was
It was
like,
extra damage reduction.
yeah, it was like it just made sense at a certain point. Where it's like, okay, no, it was a wild shot. It's gonna hit Rona, and I was like, well, okay, so I could do that to other people too. So maybe this person loses some supplies, or your attack goes wild if it makes sense, and you hit the person next to you or something like that. So I feel like I learned a lot of things this season as far as managing bigger campaigns and scheduling stuff better. And I feel, well, I hope at least that season 2 will be made all the better for our little stumbles in this one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very Bob Ross.
Yeah.
I definitely had a reason for keeping that armor besides just the stat thing, just because like Rona had this like kind of going off of what for my characters I also like thinking of things that drive them. Rona wanted to protect other people in the party. Like Eru and Drael, they were gonna go into this dangerous mystery room that was, in a area that had so far been riddled with traps. If you don't go in this certain direction that was given to us. And it's like, no, I can't. I mean, you guys like might annoy me with your talk about magic and stuff because I don't like wizard stuff. But it's like, nope. I don't know. Rona kind of took it upon herself to like die in place of other characters.
I mean,
I think I liked
it makes
about that
sense.
fact.
You want your blood bags to survive.
Exactly.
Well, I only drank from Drael
I'm-
the one time, but
And Zephyr that other one time.
that was different.
Eru would give himself up too, just to help.
Didn't you drink from Killian once?
No,
Yes.
no.
Yes, actually, that did happen once.
It was
Wait,
between
no.
sessions, I want to say.
It was
You went for communion.
because you were saying this is just one more top off, and then we'll get the cure done.
Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe I did do that.
Oh, that
Yeah.
cures.
Just gotta keep those blood bags healthy.
I like what I liked about that session with Rona telling us not to go, like
Yeah.
kind of holding us to, is even though like because Eru, I specifically made that character just to run in, but him to be anime as well, but him to run in as well, and it's still. I mean, I didn't expect the outcomes of what happened, I guess you would say,
Yeah.
in that session itself, because like that was cool that even though like Arrow like majorly just lost 10 points in his armor
Mm-hmm.
during that session.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious about something.
Go for it.
I know that there's going to be a time skip in between the 2 seasons and stuff. Hey, Rona, have you decided if you're going to still be a vampire or have you been cured?
I'm staked at the moment. Like I'm in
Oh.
limbo. I don't
Okay.
know if you got to hear the final session. I am currently in limbo without Death's company.
You could call it a high stakes situation.
I'm done. Goodbye, everybody.
Oh, that strikes me right to my heart.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, the quick synopsis of that is she goes to this weird
And I'm to blame.
all white like plain expanse, and there's another. I guess
I thought it was all government greige.
maybe I don't remember.
Like it was boring.
Yeah, it's
Is it
Yeah.
all
Like
a
King's
black
Cross
room or
Station?
something?
featureless and blank, and there was a person in air quotes there that Rona tried to talk to, and they were like feral and absolutely out of their mind.
Yep.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna talk to Death, cause what's going on here?" And like Death did not show up because she is in some weird stasis thing where Death can't
Yes.
get to her because she's not dead. 'Cause she's a vampire, but she's not alive because she's got that stake in her. So basically, until you guys unstake her, she is going to be trapped for what's going to seem to her like years and years in this featureless place. So the longer you wait to unstake her, the wronger she's gonna be when she comes back.
Right.
Also-
we were
Is
Also,
the
discussing.
when
feral
she
person-
comes back, she's going to be bloodthirsty and literally
Yes.
try to drain dry the first person she sees.
But nobody like even Rona doesn't fully understand the bloodlusting thing, so it's like one of those things that's can't really avoid just
Yeah.
with player knowledge.
You don't remember the first time it happened, and you
Well,
got
not even
staked in the
that,
middle
yeah.
of the second time. So really, you have no blood rage experience.
Yeah,
Blood rage.
Is the savage like feral person just Rona in the thing?
I had
No.
no plans for who
403.
that person was, to be honest.
um,
I have some theories afterwards, but we're not going to
Right.
go into those just yet.
I mean, in terms of passing time, like just seeing that guy, like and she's putting two and two together, she's scared out of her mind already. So as she's in limbo, Rona's going to be telling herself her whole life story over and over again so she doesn't forget her own name.
Nice. I like it.
Does every time she tells the story, it gets like 1 unit of story longer because then she narrates herself telling herself entire life story?
Or over time, does the story slowly shrink because you can't remember
Or
what
is it-
color the dress was that day and what your mom
Right.
said specifically?
Yeah.
Is Rona gonna refer to herself in the third person from now on?
No. She's actually telling the story in first person.
'Cause Roan Cold said so.
I got a question,
Also-
you guys. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Is there any like, I don't know how to phrase this, just for the whole group amassed? Is there any like item or event that like shifted the game in an interesting way you didn't see when you like first encountered it, or
Dagger.
like?
Yeah,
the
killing
leech blade-
Rona.
the
For
leech blade for
sure.
me.
10 times out of 10.
Um,
I'm actually
I was
wondering what the
expecting
stone
bad
stuff's
stuff.
for.
I was not expecting the vampirism.
Yeah, that
was.
spun out of control. There was that. Really, I think a pivotal thing for part of next season is going to be that teleport scroll for sure.
Oh yeah.
Really?
What about the stone objects that some people found, like the bow, the dagger, and or is that going to play?
One of
more?
them was on Eru, I think.
That's
he
in his
didn't-
room. It's
He
fine.
didn't give it to anyone.
I left it in the room.
Yeah, he
And
left
I
it
Player
in
said
the room.
knowledge,
nobody
that's
can have
totally a first floor puzzle.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a series of statues
room
on
no
the
one ever
first
went
floor
into.
that nobody went to, and
Okay.
basically all the statues are missing a weapon.
Yeah.
So like
Okay.
there's a ranger, a barbarian, a wizard, and that kind of stuff. So you put the things in
Okay.
there, and it basically opens the wall.
Oh,
I think that was where that quest that we threw up on like day 1 that no one ever did, and it was like, go find me the shrine.
Yeah,
I think it was behind
That's
that.
nice.
Yeah.
okay. I guess that would be a different phrase for this. Like, were there any quests you expected people to do that no one did, or ones you thought would go a different way? That
let me
I
pull
think
up my
the
list.
first, I think the biggest quest problem we had was the first day, the first group being like, we're gonna go kill Halcyon, and we're like, you're not actually going to accomplish that day 1, right?
Yeah.
They're like, we're
Oh.
gonna go kill Halcyon, and 2
Yeah.
of our paladin quests are devoted exactly to that.
Yeah, it's like, yo, dog, that's on the second floor. I don't know if you realize how floors work. You're coming in on number 1.
Well, like originally it was going to be floor 5, and that was going to be like a big thing to work up to.
Right.
Right.
That was going to be like an end of act or like end of season boss sort of thing.
Nope, just gonna bowl through and fight Halcyon. That's
Yep.
us.
Yeah.
There was definitely a quest I was sure people were gonna pick, especially because like at one point it was voted for.
Which one?
Are you talking about-
Lawbreakers be damned.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to do that too
I
because
was
of.
very curious to
arrows.
see how that was going to end up.
The
Oh.
only reason why I didn't vote for that is because I knew where that was gonna go, and
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
I have literally no desire to like see this happen with Neve. Like, this is just not. I can't think of this.
I still voted for it because I wanted to see how Arrow would have done in. I guess, but that would have been like day 1 quest, so that would have been weird.
Oh man, that would have been great. I just joined up with these schmucks, and now we're on the run for. Woo!
No, now that like now that I've started the whole Detective Neve thing, I'm like, oh shit, I would have done that quest now. If that, like, it was
Yeah.
still available now, I would have done
Right.
that in a heartbeat.
I mean, they still don't know who the murderer is.
No,
Yeah.
we don't know
Oh,
that
the
you
murder.
murdered people.
Oh man, I've got an idea.
Hold on.
You're staked.
Yeah.
We could produce your corpse and collect the reward.
The characters have no way of knowing that Rona did it. Is
Yeah.
the thing. The quest would have been finding that out, and she can't really give herself away accidentally.
Oh man.
So the one I was hoping people would go on it. It was introduced late in the season, so we didn't have much chance for you guys to pick it. But it's called Gatekeepers Needed, Serious Inquiries Only.
I want to do that.
Oh,
We're basically-
so bad.
The guard, right?
Yeah, it's basically you're supposed to guard the 5th floor.
I was looking up like entire like speeches, and I was just like, okay, gotta write these down. Just gonna keep.
So
Like-
I'm not going to go into huge detail about what these rooms or what this floor had in it, but it was very much inspired by the fungus in The Last of Us. So just
Oh,
Oh, good.
I
And then-
really want to do that mission
Yeah,
so much.
like reread it and with that knowledge in mind, and think of the issues that could arise. Also, we thought it'd be really great if Lomain came down and like
Yeah.
absorbed some sort of weird like cordyceps into him, and then they were like, "Yo, dog, you can't come back up. What are you talking about? You are the mushroom shit." No.
Can't bring
anybody-
this back with.
Did anybody do that weird Larders Low mission that we came up with?
That was
That was like
second session.
that was like the first or second session. Yeah, they just killed
That
some
was the
stuff and
second
brought it
session.
back.
Oh yeah.
Well,
we
no,
totally-
the one where there was like that room with the funky meat that was all illusory.
Oh.
Oh, that wasn't even
No,
related
we
to a quest. Okay, so there's a room on the 2nd floor that had a bunch of I think it's ghouls or something in it, who were basically disguising themselves as like nobles gathered around this table.
It was
And-
gonna look like the stereotypical like elven noble feast thing.
Yeah.
Like a giant table heaped high with food.
Yeah, and there would actually be meat there you could eat, but that meat was other adventurers.
Oh god.
Oh no,
and-
we just butchered some gnolls and brought it back.
oh
to
sh-
No, this
Yeah,
was
yeah,
this was a
no,
different.
Yeah, this was just a room that y'all convenient. Like at one point, when you went,
the
I
cannibal
think-
would have loved that mission.
Yeah, when you went north to fight Halcyon, if you had kept going west, there was this big hall that you saw like light, and you never went in there.
We
And
totally had a quest ginned up for that though, because there was like someone up in town who was addicted to it, like who had eaten some of it and came back up.
I can't remember what happened to that quest.
I think we probably just nuked it due to time.
Maybe so, but yeah, it was basically if you when you walked in, you felt hungry, and if you could resist the urge to eat the meat when you tried to leave, they would basically turn on you and try to attack you. And if you ate the meat, you would basically become addicted to eating people.
Sweet Wendigo curse.
This
Yeah.
dungeon is so cool. Everything is.
So let me tell you about Deadlands again, kids.
You know what the worst part is? The fact that now we know about these quests and they're not going to happen, and we're going to be like, shit, we want to do that now.
Oh no, don't worry. Things are gonna get much worse.
Yeah.
I still want to. I really want to do a hold the line thing with like Thrognar and like all the heavy hitters, and just like really go out for the hold the line.
Love isn't
Kind of
always on
bits.
time, Patrick.
I mean,
don't be
Oh.
careful what you wish for.
well, and the other thing is like, so if we have this daycare babysitting mission inside, and you're guarding a monster zoo, what does the existence of a monster zoo say about the civilization in which said monster zoo exists? Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, like that's going to knock on a few dozen other
God,
quests,
I just-
I imagine.
What's it called? I also. I don't remember what I was going to say. Never mind.
Oh yeah, before we get too much further, I just wanted to take a moment and thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for taking your time to come and play with us. Like, this was a big experiment, and you all were willing to risk your time and energy to carry it out with us, and that is something I'm super appreciative of. There's a lot of people I would not have met or played games with otherwise, and I'm super glad I got to meet all of you. So, thanks.
What do you mean risk? We got a chance to play a game with like one of my favorite podcast people. Like I'm happy. It's like
Same
a
here.
jump. I was like, oh god, yes, please. I'm gonna
I never
make time
really
in my
thought that I
schedule.
would, like, at one time I was like nervous, like like I said, I was nervous just playing, like asking to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
Same.
I was just like, well, one, I never really played, so I like you said in the beginning of the stream that
Mhm.
people were nervous or scared to kind of jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of my anxieties a little bit, but
Mhm.
I'm glad to have because I got to meet a lot of new people and
Yeah.
do play a lot with these people and listen to everybody. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, like completely new players are some of my favorite people to DM for because you will do shit that I have never considered. You don't have the bad habits or like the meta knowledge that just
you don't have any idea what the limit is, so you're just like, I'm gonna go to number 16, and then it's like, yes, you are. Roll that shit.
yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I totally cut off the heads of all these bandits so I can bring them back to that person's office. And it's like they don't want heads. What are you doing? In what universe does
I'm a
someone
party madman now.
Yeah, and like in what universe does like a sergeant at a fort want 6 heads just sitting on the floor of their office?
Yeah.
It's an office. They're trying to work and you're distracting them.
They're headhunters.
Or like
Goddamn,
Zephyr
Jordan.
wanting to ride the shark.
Or
Yeah.
Zephyr being like, "Can I tame the shark?" And I was like, "Yes."
So
Very
okay,
Oh, that
Ty, you
that
played.
was a moment.
Ty, you played in the other campaign with the SE people, right?
Oh, yeah,
Roll
yeah,
for your
the-
life or something like that. I think. it
Roll
is?
for your lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that.
I heard you playing in that, and then I saw that you had signed up for this one, and I was like, "Is that the same guy? I hope it's the fucking same guy, because that dude's got some crazy fucking playing." And you were. So thanks for coming, man. I
No.
appreciate all you guys showing up.
Zephyr, you were the best. Like,
Oh, I love one thing
Like,
I liked
actually-
about that other thing is that like you can always play like we only did like a session and then we would switch it up.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. It was cool having like the one-off adventures here. It was
Yeah,
cool and
yeah.
kind of like having a weird arc for a character because like I always play one-off things.
Yeah.
I'm-
That's understandable.
I'm really excited to see if you what character you do next, because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't wait. I like.
Like you were previously discussing about making a paladin.
Oh yeah,
His name's
I got some
Zophyr. He's an
ideas.
elf. He's really a showboat. It's just Zephyr with a fucking mustache who can't really wield a mace well.
You're supposed to be dead. Am I
literally,
not?
literally the same character sheet, except like there's whiteout over ranger, and paladin is spelled with an E.
I'm his brother, Zophyr.
Twin brother.
I hear that Zephyr
Everything.
Quinn sure is a handsome fellow.
But yeah, like for season 2, I want to encourage all of you, if you have anybody who you want to introduce to RPGs or anybody you want to bring in, I try to make sure that the community is welcoming. Hopefully we do an okay job, but we love getting new people into things, or just having a way for people who maybe haven't played in a while to play again, or just with people they haven't played with before.
I should say that we aim for welcoming, and if someone is found to be unwelcoming,
They are shown
they
the
are
door.
dealt with.
There.
The non-believers shine. Shine.
Yeah, no, I was super happy to bring Chase in because he told me his cannibal idea. I'm like, do it, man. Please do that now.
It wouldn't be the weirdest fucking thing that was going on. Just go for it.
Honestly, I think I said very similar thing to that actually.
Yeah.
I need to reconvince Mitch to actually hop in because that guy
Yeah.
is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like the music he makes and just like the random posts and stuff. I feel like his sense of humor would align with the stuff we do pretty well, but I didn't want to like push the issue and try to force it. So maybe for season 2 we can get him involved.
He doesn't have a huge amount of time, but like he did like his first time role playing was over there with us. Like he made this like, oh, it's the kid and he's a ranger.
Yeah, and he's got a donkey.
And then another character just made Rick Sanchez. So he's like, well, I guess I'm doing a Morty voice.
So he basically was Morty the whole time. I heard the voice. I was like, he's Morty from Rick and Morty. That's what's happening right now, right? Except he's kind of like a wizard or something.
Good. That's how you make RPG characters. It's just like that guy,
Hey,
but
you-
also a
yeah,
wizard.
you find a touchstone and you tweak it a little bit.
Yep. Nothing new under the sun, just
Yeah.
new ways of doing it.
So even though we may not be recording more sessions of this in the immediate future, what I'm gonna try to do is when we have little one-off things, I'm gonna post it in the Discord. So if you keep Discord, on your phone or installed or whatever, just check it every now and then. So if we do like a Fiasco night, I don't know how many of you have played Fiasco. Fiasco is fucking amazing.
I ran Dwarf Fortress Fiasco last week for my cousins, and we had
That sounds kind of great.
yeah.
If you ever feel like iffy about just like improving stuff, Fiasco will help you with that. None of the ones we've played have gone in anywhere near the direction I thought they were going to go, and it was for the better.
I think in the very best way,
Swamp
like
One was my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Swamp
I-
One is the best.
I
Swamp
think
Magic.
Fiasco
Yes.
exists like
Very.
diametrically opposed to D&D in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think Dungeon World actually like ruined me on D&D now because I'm just like,
It
but
does
like,
that.
how does this affect the story? And like I was playing D&D before I came, so I came a little bit later, but like. I just like there's one point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna discern realities here, and
Yeah.
oh shit, no wait, I
Yeah.
can't do that.
That's the thing that kills me is like so I played D&D and I was like, well, this is pretty good. And then somebody ran a 13th Age campaign for me. Some people from the forums and like my brother and I played, and it was fantastic. I was like, 13th Age is the shit. And then we started playing Dungeon World. I was like, whoop, nope, this is even better. And then we tried going back to like 13th Age, and I was like, I gotta roll a d20. Like,
I have like a
It's icky.
55% chance of success, and there's no like nice bell curve of outcomes here. And
Well, not just that. It's like when you go to like 4E and stuff like that, it's your first page is nothing but different skills you have to look through. And then your second page is like a million different spells to sort through and stuff like that for
When you
a lot
fail,
of classes.
nothing can happen sometimes. And
Yeah.
so
Right, it's
just-
like, okay, you don't attack it. Congratulations. Whereas with this, it's
Yeah,
like,
you
okay,
will.
your
Next
failure, you lose your footing and you accidentally stab your friend. That's a thing. Or like, you squish Mr. Tibbles because why would you expect a cat to catch you?
the fact that I didn't expect the cat to catch me, the cat
No, yeah,
decided
I
it
know,
would
I know.
help.
I
Um,
saved it.
Yeah,
I saved.
We
it.
were talking earlier, Matt. That
Ruined me
section
with
got like
that.
real sad. Like,
Yeah, I know.
What?
I made like 5 different butt puns.
Yeah. Oh shit. Like
We really got to the bottom of it.
just
Oh,
Zach super fucking pulled on heartstrings like the whole time. Like, he was like, "Does my armor still kill?" I was like, "Yeah, of course it does." He's like, "Cool, then I'm still dead."
Oh, he's like,
Oh,
"Good."
good.
"Cool, then I'm exactly dead.
also, to everybody who died in that last session, I'm not sure if you've ever had a character death before. I want to commend you all for taking that like a champ. Like you all
That
went
was my
with it
first.
and you committed to it, and like I thought they were all awesome, and I'm not just saying that because like I suggested them, but like the way you guys took it and ran with it, like Zephyr popping up and ripping his heart back out of the mummy was cool as shit, and then like Eru blasting fireballs as it like used himself as fuel, and like he lost
Yeah.
all of his memories and shit, and like
That was
That was amazing.
you just went with it, and I was like, fucking yes, this is good. We did a thing.
As
Well,
a
okay,
player,
that was another
the
question I was
hardest
going to ask.
thing-
Like,
the
were you
hardest
planning for this to be the last session before everything went to shit?
Well, I was like, okay, at some point we need to have like a season wrapping up point, but I'm not gonna force it. And then I was like, okay, so there's these things, and I got to like most of the end of the first part of that session, and I went, I think I might have sent it to Andrew, or I might have just been talking to myself, and I was like, they don't notice what's going on. This may be the end of the season because these things are strong as shit, and there's more of them arriving soon.
I think you sent me that, and I was just like, then if it's the end of the season, it's the end of the season. Like, don't fight it.
Yeah, no, like I feel like it ended at a good organic stopping point, but really there was no concrete plan on when to end it or how to end it. I just think it ended up working out the way it did based on the quests.
I also just super like that me and Steven just had like a whole discussion of what Neve and Dreyald said, like right beforehand.
Before they left.
Yeah.
And we didn't even intend that, but like I was like, for some odd reason, I had a gut feeling that something was going to go extremely wrong
Oh,
at
it's fine.
Palm's Bowl at that point.
Oh, it's fine.
So
I mean,
so I was like, I messaged Steven. I'm like, we need to just talk about like what Neve and and Drell are gonna talk to each other about like right now because I have a feeling that something's gonna happen and it's gonna be Drell's fault.
You need to have we need to have a
I
conversation
want
right
to
now.
say that it wasn't Gerald's fault, more the fact that he was golden rooted and listening to another person.
But he
He golden rooted himself for
So
one.
he did.
You didn't tell him to set the priests on fire.
Right,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
I think he asked permission though for a
Yes.
fireball. He did ask permission
He was
from me.
he said fireball question mark like 11 times before that.
Yes.
So it was
Yeah.
gonna happen
That's true.
eventually.
That's true.
Matt, what were you gonna say?
Yeah.
I was
gonna
gonna say the hardest thing for players, and especially for new players,
Uh-huh.
is to learn how to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a part of the game, and it is the hardest thing. And the fact that everybody took to it so well is commendable.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that's the hardest thing in life too, but
Well, it's the last thing you learn how to do, really.
yeah, and you know, you don't really have to deal with
Everybody gets one.
you don't have to deal with the aftermath really, so it's fine, really.
Not usually.
I
Some
actually
of us-
I'm
Sorry.
looking forward. Oh, no, you first. I was interrupting you.
Oh, I was gonna say some of us took to it a little too well,
Ah.
and we're repeat customers.
Okay, no, you didn't take to dying, you took to death, and that's a
Yes.
whole different thing, Jordan.
I like the fact that when I die, I understand that I kind of messed up with the adding because I forgot about my armor, to be honest, because I
Yeah.
was still going on the other session. But I'm like, you know what? This is really cool as it going, so let's just roll with this.
Yeah, that's the thing that I liked is y'all were like, well, I should have more health, but fuck it, it's fine, let's just roll with it. And
Because I think either way, I would have been attacked again anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So
probably.
I don't think I've had a character die yet. I've been playing for like 4 years, and I haven't had one character die, which has actually kind of upset me a little bit.
We'll change
But-
that next season.
Yeah, like I'm actually,
Someone.
personally, I'm not hoping it's Neve, but like I'm going to make a lot of new characters, and if it is Neve, awesome. But like, I've never had a character die, and like I've been kind of upset about that because I've always wanted to like see what would happen when this character died and like hit the end.
Yeah.
So let me tell you about paranoia.
If you want to
Go
go through
on.
characters real quick.
Like if you want to learn how to die, paranoia will teach you how to die in new and exciting ways.
And when you complain to the GM, they will just kill your next character in line.
That's not fair, I got killed. Hammer kills you again. Sorry, you're down
Yeah.
2 clones.
It's right here in the rules. Like I mean, I would show you, but you don't have clearance to read it.
Well, no, it's right here in the rules. Come and look. Cool. Now your next clone dies because you're not allowed to see the rules.
So
I can do this all day.
yeah.
I think that's one thing I like, or this is my second time playing Dungeon World, and like the weird swinginess of it, like has created a lot of comedy and
Yeah.
like
Also,
you never have enough HP to feel super safe.
right, like
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. I mean, in the monster manual, the biggest monster has, I think it's like 36 HP.
Yep.
And
I
it's
believe so.
some like horrible
terror
it's an apocalypse dragon.
That's the name of it.
And it's got
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 armor, so good luck getting to the HP ever, but yeah.
I thought the clay figurine that I had was safe, and then Andrew's like, "Hey, by the way, this thing I do, it removes armor." And it's
Yep.
like he did it twice. It's like, great, the thing I had in place is gone, and now they're like, "Wow, this guy sucks." It's
At
like,
the same time, Alaric got fucking work done on that guy.
yeah,
Yeah. No, that
Like
was
apparently he'd done some assassination in his
Yeah.
previous contracts.
I really love seeing the characters. Like that was one of the things is a lot of times there wasn't like discussion of you do this, I'll do this. It was I'm gonna do this, and somebody just played perfectly off of that. It was some Legolas and Gimli shit happening. Like you didn't even need words. It was like blah, 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 and it was awesome.
My first ever character death was the second or third, 4th edition campaign I ever played in,
Mhm.
and I had this fucking monster of a tank, a Warforged Warden, which was the natural defender,
Yeah.
and I think at level 1 I had 20 con.
Jesus.
oh jeez.
Seems about right.
I had 20 con. I had something where it's like the first time you were reduced to 0 hit points in a day because it was a daily spell.
Yeah.
Stand back up and regain. I think it's regain a healing surge, and also you're at half health again. Just as a free action, like you don't die.
Yeah, Warforged are already tough enough to kill. Stick
Yeah.
them with something like a Warden or something like that, and they're
Well,
just
yeah.
impossible.
Warforged get to take 10 on death saving throws after
yeah.
they've rolled. So you
I
can
played a
roll,
Warforged sword
see if you fail, and then pass.
Nice. We should all talk about our first character death. That'd be fun.
It was
Aw.
so
I have
this
a
character gets kidnapped, and basically the big bad evil guy is like, I think he actually came after Carson's character, and my character is like like he was a 5-year-old statue, basically, animated by just a force of nature, and so he was totally like sold on these ideas of heroism and self-sacrifice because that's what he was born depicting. Like he was literally created as a hero. And so he totally trades his place, and the big bad evil is like, good, I didn't need that fucker. Thanks for playing into my hand, and then teleports away.
Nice.
And then he gets ritually sacrificed, and that was my first ever character death.
Nice.
For the 2 sessions that we were chasing down the big bad evil guy who kidnapped my statue, I played the least optimized character I've ever touched in 4th edition because the GM was just like, here's an NPC who's like along for the ride.
Yeah.
My character gets kidnapped, and he's like, I've statted up this character as a player character if you want to play them. And that was my changeling barbarian berserker, who later I basically rebirthed into Fod.
Nice.
And I absolutely adore the barbarian berserker, and the changeling just like makes no sense mechanically, but I just loved the story of it so much. It's just
Yeah.
like, how does this changeling get that in touch with nature to do all these things?
Yeah, my first one was when I was playing that 13th Age game with some forum people. I think that was what got me interested in doing the podcast, because I played with like Mike and Bobby and some other folks, and I was playing a bard named Talden, which he was a dwarf, so he was not tall, but he had a mohawk, and he had an arm that was possessed by one of the 3, which is like the evil dragons. So basically he had to do their bidding and stuff. But anyway, went to go fight another dragon, and he died down in the pit. And basically the way the party dealt with it was they went, hup, and then hucked me into the lava. And there was a bunch of kobolds who were like worshiping the dragon. So the dragon dies, there's like a kobold left. And the GM's like, you want to play him? And you can just pick a class and roll stats for him. So I'm like, sure. So it was the, roll 4d6, keep 3 of them. 4 of my stats were 18 to start with. It was like
Jesus.
4 of them were 18, 1 was 16, I think 1 was 15 before I even got the 2+2s. And the DM
This is why I
was
don't
like,
roll stats anymore.
I was like, I can re-roll if you want, and he's like, no, just fucking do it. So like, I was absolutely not allowed in town, but I was the most competent fucking person ever, and it was pretty rad.
Another reason why Dungeon World is amazing. Don't roll in stats.
Yeah. So Jordan, what was your first character?
But it was Rona, actually.
Yeah, that fits.
Sorry about that.
You know,
Sorry about that.
also, I mean, you guys already know the story, so instead I will throw in a sad headcanon.
Okay. Those are fun too.
Lang has talked with the druid, and he knows that Rona the vampire is Rona, his
The
owner,
Yeah, the
who he has
ranger
not
friend.
seen
Partner.
forever. So
Co-equal.
he's down in the basement with her, waiting for her to wake up.
Oh.
Is Lang outside the vault? Because I'm assuming the vault door is closed.
I think someone let him into the vault, so he's just laying there waiting. For
Oh,
her to
okay. So
wake
it's
up.
just the most depressing episode of Futurama.
I was about to say, is
Yeah.
it the sad dog music from Futurama playing?
In summer.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
I will wait for you.
That episode fucked me up
Go to feeling jail.
hard.
Okay.
This is
So
what
anyone-
loyalty gets you.
If anyone can talk to animals and they ask him, he thinks it's his fault because he was being a brat for most of his.
Oh,
well, that's fair.
Wow,
Nice,
wow,
nice,
wow.
nice.
Like, if he was with her, maybe that wouldn't have happened.
If
The
he,
season-
no. If he had been a good boy.
Yes, if he had been a good boy.
Oh,
Because he really did
Oh.
love her. It's just he was stressed out from
dogs are the
going
best.
to a completely different environment. And
I just want to say that that like 5 people just did that actually literally sustains me. I don't need to eat for like a week.
The
Maybe-
true mind flayer was always.
making
season-
people cry over the anguish of kittens and puppies is what I live for. That and making people cringe with death puns. Like the dead rats.
The
so
season
bad.
got notably darker in the second half.
It-
Like everything just went to
Did.
real shit later.
I think what happened is like we stopped people started digging deeper because like the city was never a good like with
No.
the capital G place.
No.
Like they were rationing water and exiling people from day negative 365 basically.
What are you talking about? We love the green cloaks.
Yeah, like
Kill
it
green
was
cloaks.
it was definitely not like a good city or anything like that from the word go. The touchstones I had sort of like for the bits that I was embroidering were Etrian Odyssey with the like murderous party goes into a dungeon and like murders their way through a bunch of monsters and then brings back the loot, and that's what sustains the city. And Darkest Dungeon, which is a new stagecoach of adventurers arrives every week, which is good because like 4 people probably just died and we need to replace them.
Also,
I think we did pretty good on the deepest dungeon front. I kind of wanted a little bit more, like people, but like
I was
with the
honestly
with the
expecting
druids getting killed and like yeah.
Yeah. What were you saying, Jordan?
oh, I was gonna say also a little bit of Kirkwall from Dragon Age
Oh, yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Just
Yep. Nope, that was in there too. The city was the main antagonist.
So
Yeah.
my inspiration was I was looking at cool pictures on Imager, and there was a picture of a ruined skyscraper in the desert, and I was like, I'm gonna do this.
Well, and then you like posted and you're like, I think I could make like a city around this, and I was like, cool. What if it's the Tower of Babel?
Yeah, we bounced a bunch of ideas back and forth. That was good times.
I mean, when I first signed up, when I looked at it and just hearing the synopsis, I was thinking of like, I don't know if anyone's ever played this, but like Azure Dreams.
Mm-mm.
It's like this JRPG on the PS1.
Mhm.
It's literally a city out in the desert with this tower that's filled with monsters.
We're getting sued.
I mean, it's that is also the like every Etrian Odyssey game is. There's a city around the base of Yggdrasil or something.
Right. I mean, also the mood of the city and the tower are much different than Argent Springs and Minaki.
Sweet. I'm not getting sued.
This made me feel it was somewhere across between Fallout and Adventure Time was what I was feeling like, mixed with something really just like super Darkest Dungeon.
Well,
Yeah,
it was
that-
definitely like post apocalypse was the sort of feel we were going for, like the weird future tech with like also the body horror elements in the dungeon.
Just a little body horror, just like one body horror.
I mean, to get you between floors, they only liquefied, sluiced you down a level, and then reconstituted
that
you
one.
whole.
Oh, I loved the response to that the first time. Everybody was like, "Wait, what the fuck? What just turned to blood?"
What episode was that?
And
It was
You should go
towards the
back.
end, like
Yeah. Okay.
when y'all finally
be-
decided to like use the elevator, and it basically like it would scan people. You tell it what floor you wanted, it would check your access, and it would turn you into blood, pour you through that grate, and then reconstitute you on the floor you had access to.
yeah,
The
and
word
like you were
used was
vaguely
glue.
aware of it all,
Yeah,
but
you
it didn't
saw a
hurt.
bright light, and there was this weird pulling and crunching that you felt, but like it wasn't painful. It just lasted for a long time, and then you were where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
And it didn't actually last all that long. You just thought it did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird when your brain gets turned to goo how time goes.
I mean, I'm also half expecting like the final boss of this entire series to be just the dungeon gets up and like starts attacking the world.
Yeah. Okay. So
Man, Killian
my
would love that.
my fan headcanon when I thought I'm like, oh, it's a giant bone. This is a giant. This is a giant's body we're exploring.
Fuck, that would be cool. Like the
That's a
boss
sweet
at the
idea.
end
I'm
of
stealing that for later.
Mass Effect 2, the
Yes.
big like
Oh.
Terminator
We
robot.
don't talk about the Human Reaper, Chris.
Yes, we do. That thing was rad as shit.
No,
See, I
it
thought
was
this
the in boss for
conversation-
Contra. Get it right.
I thought this conversation was going to be, by the way, Minaki is like the final boss of the demo area for Nier Automata.
That that can kind of work too. You know those chips that you guys got stabbed with?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to go in a different way, which is why I feel comfortable telling you guys this now. Those have like those weird little nanite bug things in them as well. So in order to get access to more floors, you need to get more stabs. And eventually they were going to form like a network in you to once you got far enough down, basically the next time you died, they would awaken the little network and you would belong to the Minanki now.
Okay.
Well, already belong to Minanki, so this is not a problem.
There were some.
I mean,
That's commitment.
I love the unstated background of Killian's character.
yeah.
Oh no, I intentionally wrote it with like enough like gaps that you guys could fit whatever you wanted in there to make it work,
Yeah.
and it was just
Loved it.
Man.
Killian's one of my I love all the characters in this like season.
Yeah.
Just in total. Like I was like, oh yay, Rhoda, who has like all this development and like awesome relationship with Death. Oh yay, Thragnar, who is just like super fun
He's
and
an elf
just
now.
who's an elf now.
Yeah.
Now, oh yay, Zephyr, who I've never imagined as an elf. I've always imagined him as a super muscular man who just has elf ears on.
Well, no, he's half elf, so it's just the right ear.
No. Zephyr was the only fully elven ranger.
The
I
worst
thought he-
elf.
I thought you
Me
took
and-
the half elf trait, or
No,
was
that
that
was
just
Les.
the other two?
That was me and Laz. Like the girl rangers picked the half elven trait. From session 4 after the rivalry thing, I don't know, like I wasn't sure where that was gonna go. It's like, oh, do I hate him now? Or like am I gonna be like totally tsundere sort of thing?
¿Por qué no los dos?
I just thinking of that session 4 just reminded me just how much I loved testing Killian on that thing. It's just like, is he being a coward or
Is
like
that the mud one?
that was the one where he
Clayman?
said, "Oh, there's a giant beam of light in the center of the
Yeah,
That was
the
the
room.
clumsy
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And
Stand
it ended with you falling into the pit.
Yes.
And you're like, Minanki
Yeah, that was-
betray!
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a great
I
session.
was at work listening to that one and I just burst out laughing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like,
Oh.
yeah, we cleared like 19 floors, and Chris is like, what? And I was like, yeah, and they solved like 3 puzzles and found the stairs down.
Oh yeah, no, I knew exactly it was going to be something where it was going to open up beneath me, but that was no, it had to be.
Wow.
I just also love that like for the first like 6 sessions, it was just a race to find what's his name?
Halcyon.
Halcyon, and like everyone was like, okay, I really want to be the party that doesn't just
We're gonna
rub it
kill
into
him.
the
We're
air
gonna
for the
kill
rest of everyone.
We're gonna kill him. Okay, we gotta go down here and solve this so people quit going down here and solving this.
And I also love like after we killed Halcyon was the session I think like the next session I played with Neve, I played with Zephyr, so I got to do the whole did you kill Halcyon? No, I didn't
I
think
remember
so.
that.
And it felt so
Halcyon-
good.
The Halcyon fight was when I realized I needed to step stuff up because I expected it to whip more ass, and I think most of the damage to the party was done by the exploding fire barrel.
Hey,
I mean, part of
I've
that
been-
was
I was-
apparently Laz just couldn't miss.
Yeah, that was
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was seething, like watching that
Laz
session.
was
I
on
was pissed.
Fire. Oh,
Laz MVP of that session.
It's like, okay, he's eventually going to not get a 10. This is fine.
There will come a day when I miss a roll, and it is not this day. Blink, 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 making shots behind his back, no problem.
Was like gloating when during the race. Like, and it's like, ha, you know, you actually failed a roll, and I'm just like angrily eating popcorn, pulling myself.
The Jordan
Right?
Giff eats popcorn angrily.
I think Race was my favorite one I've ever played.
That was
Like-
probably the dumbest thing I've ever done in Dungeon World, and I love it.
I loved it so much, mainly because it was just because like we were supposed to be racing everyone else, but it ended up being me, Zephyr, and Draal racing.
It turned
And
into
not even
Home Alone
Dra-
4 at some point, and y'all were just setting
Yeah.
traps to fuck each other over.
Mm.
No, it was the Hanna-Barbera race show that I can't
Wacky
remember.
races.
Yeah.
Wacky races.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was
What's
always
this
on
one?
when I was sick, and I fucking loved that show because it is dumb as hell.
Yeah.
That show and the Olympics one that they did with
Wacky
the Hannibal, all the
Olympics.
Wacky Olympics.
My favorite thing.
Oh no, it's Laugh Olympics. That's right.
Laugh
After
Olympics, yeah.
the session, I was asking Bella, "Hey, did you go back for your bear?" And like, he started crying. The bear took the shot for him, and he left it at the bottom of the cliff.
Oh,
Yep.
Jesus! Fuck!
Worst rangers.
Too
All
real.
very bad rangers. All just
Oh.
Our party just didn't have like had rangers that all were like bad at their job at being a
Yeah.
ranger.
I mean, the thing is, with session 4, I actually nailed all my shots. It's just Zephyr made me angry and distracted at the very end. Like, he was copying my shots in the Trace's eye.
God.
move for move, just doing it over.
What was also
but-
that wasn't like Killian like really hard on Rana?
Yes, I was like, oh, good. This is the first character who has acted like negatively towards her. She's very impressionable, and she did not take that well.
That changed a lot.
I mean, no, she's still super impressionable. Just
No, not that. I bet Killian's like
oh,
rude toward Rona.
Rona
No,
tends to
yeah.
leave impressions now.
yeah.
Little bite marks usually. Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
Zephyr just ended up with the one bigger impression.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Aww.
So many body parts. So many creatures in your blood.
I don't know if you were. Yeah, I don't know if you were here earlier when we were talking about it, but we were talking about some of like our favorite moments and stuff, like the GM only part. Rona's gonna be super fucked up when she wakes up and finds out that you're dead after
Oh,
what
yeah.
you did for her.
A final failure.
Zephyr.
The nail
He
in the
died
coffin.
the way he lived, with his own heart literally in his hand.
I still
Oh,
have, I still
only
have
sad he
the
didn't die with his
rapier
heart
he
on his
gave me a couple sessions back, and she's gonna be like clinging to that thing.
Oh, they had a little present. Was it a rapier?
It was a rapier,
Yeah.
and Zephyr went to go have it like embellished with feather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Cartilage.
I don't know, that's one of the cool things I like about like this long campaign. You like can build these like weird little like I don't know. When I first started, I didn't think like there'd be all these like
I'm gonna buy
rivalry with
presents for
Neve.
another character that we have kind of like a friendly rivalry with.
Yeah,
It was a
They're
friendly
going to embellish
rivalry.
it with something relevant to their characters' lived experiences.
Yeah.
yeah.
Me and Zephyr were not a friendly rivalry.
No, there were some friendly and there were some less friendly rivalries.
I wanted to kill Zephyr at some
Yeah.
point.
All right, let me see. So we've been going for like 3 hours. Holy shit! So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end the stream. I think. So yeah. So I just said so yeah, and then yeah. So sorry, it's my brain is slowly shutting down. Thank you everyone again for not only showing up tonight, but for showing up all the nights that you showed up, and for playing and for being awesome. We literally could not have done this without you all. I am super thankful for every bit of input and all the crazy moments and the insane character decisions, and I sincerely hope that all of you come back and play next season, and that you bring friends. Like, I want this thing to just have a stupid amount of people, and we have, all 3 GMs running something once a week or something, just so we can keep up with the demand. Maybe not that many, but like it would be cool to to spread this strange RPG sickness to more people. So thank you again.
Spice must flow.
Like I said, stay
Games
tuned.
must flow.
Stay tuned to your
The
Discord.
dice must flow. There we
damn
go.
it.
We got
There we go. Oh damn.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on Discord. We'll be posting anything we have openings for there. So if you want to jump in on a fiasco night, or we're gonna run a thing of the Quiet Year at some point. I want to do
Oh
that.
yeah, I totally got
Ooh.
that on the bet.
We also need to do session 2 of Paranoia.
We
Just
do.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
2 and 3
That
of
one, that one
Tales from the
doesn't need
Loop.
new people though, because we've.
True.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean we can't run another session of Paranoia. Though.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But we should finish the first one before we do a second one.
Yeah.
Probably. Things are timey-wimey in Paranoia as well.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't have to be the same, you know. Anyway, I'm rambling again. Please stay tuned for more things. For those of you watching at home, we've got a stupid amount of campaigns coming, and we're still thinking of new ones before we even get the current ones off the ground. So, yes, we are all Icarus here tonight.
Yeah. It also
thank-
turns out that having a cottage industry that just produces high quality PDFs that are
Yep.
interesting, at least for like 10 hours of play,
Yeah,
like at a minimum, is really good for, you know,
yeah.
our ADD.
And we may be having a lot. Oh, I'm gonna discuss this after we get off stream. So yes, thank you everybody. I'm gonna end the stream now so I can talk about more shit behind y'all's back.
Like, share, subscribe. We have a Patreon. Also send us emails.
Yes, emails thatdndpodcast@gmail.com. Twitter is @thatdndpodcast. YouTube.com/thatdndpodcast. Patreon.com/thatdndpodcast. And Facebook.com/thatdndpodcast.
Got there.